All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are live. I had to change all of my settings, so let's make sure this is actually working. Yes, it is. We are live. Feel free to ask any questions you might have. Go absolutely nuts. We can kind of just hang out. This was sort of a celebration of hitting 7K. We also didn't celebrate 6,000 viewers as well, so we'll celebrate that, but ask any questions. We can hang out. I might also talk about some of the stuff that I've been doing lately, some of the stuff that I've been working on. I have absolutely put my head down and gone sort of like monk mode, focusing on building some video courses and little bits and pieces like that. Maybe I can show on the screen while I wait for the questions to start coming in. So dump any of your questions in chat. And actually, I'll tell you what, I'll show you what Cam has been working on first. So Cam has been working on a little video course, or sorry, a book for me. I've paid him to write a couple of books, and his first one is How to Get Laid in 6 Weeks If You're a Virgin or Inexperienced. And he's put basically like a beginner's guide. And so this is still in the process of being finished, but he talks a fair bit about like what to do before the date, like how to meet people, what to do actually on the date, what to do if you're nervous. I wrote a chapter in there about, let's see if we can find it. I wrote a chapter about like what to actually do on the actual date, how to have sex, what to do once you're back at your place or her place. He's got steps on like what to message women. Obviously this guide is mostly for men. He's got tips on what photos to take, which apps to use, all of that kind of stuff. So it's pretty fucking in-depth. He even talks about cold approach, like going outside and talking to women. So it's like 60 or 70 pages long, and it's still in the process of being finished. So he's written most of this, which I really appreciate. Obviously, I'm paying him for, but he's put a ton of love into this, and I've edited a couple of chapters and put a little bit in there as well. It's a pretty nice book. It kind of like holds your hand through the whole process, especially if guys are like a little nervous. So that's what he's been working on. And what I have been working on is a video course / ebook, I guess. So this is called How to Win, How I Built a Winner's Mindset. And it's basically a mapping out of how I've achieved all of my goals, I guess. But it's also a lot more about like life philosophies and mindsets that have helped me, and how I've overcome fear, how I have dealt with limiting beliefs, how I set goals, how I achieve goals, how I use accountability to keep myself on track, what I do when I have a failure or a setback, or I'm stressed, or I get overwhelmed and have a breakdown. The mindsets that have helped me, like how I play to win rather than playing not to lose. What else do I talk about? Every problem has a solution, like how to always find a solution to every single problem that you might have. Everything that happens to me is good. In that chapter, I talk about reframing things, and instead of feeling like a victim and saying, this isn't fair, why is this happening to me? Why is everybody screwing me over? That sort of like hopeless victimhood. I talk about how to flip that around and see everything that happens to you as potentially a good thing. In other words, how to see the silver lining, how to play to win instead of focusing on like losses and stuff like that. I have some more advanced chapters as well, like everything is a story and you're in control of the stories that you tell. That's a very advanced topic, but I've given that to a few of my coaching clients so far, and they've really liked that. I even have a big chapter on the map of consciousness, which a lot of you will know is, hopefully you can see it on the screen here, this little rainbow colored map or chart on the left hand side. Basically it lists out all of the emotions, and in this chapter I talk about how to feel the higher level emotions, like how to feel excitement towards your goals, how to feel peace, how to feel happiness, how to be a little more reason or logic based rather than feeling guilt and shame and fear and anger and all of that. I talk about like how to climb up the map, how to feel those higher level emotions. I talk about what to do when you're feeling those lower level emotions like fear and guilt and shame and all of that. I talk about the fact that the emotions are not bad. Like if you're feeling fear or guilt or shame or whatever, that's not a bad thing. We can in fact use those emotions. So it's kind of a mapping out of all of these emotions and how to use them productively. And then one of the final chapters I talk about is like how to use self-reflection, like how to reflect and look back on your goals, how to be grateful, how to not move the goalposts which is something that we often do as human beings, where we will achieve a goal, and rather than celebrate that goal or be super happy, we'll go, fuck, I'm not happy, this isn't enough, I need more. I need to make more money, or I need to have more sex, or I need to do whatever it is that I'm doing, but more. And we do that forever, or it can be easy to get into a cycle where we keep doing that forever. And you see that with a lot of, rich people that just keep hunting more and more money, and they never seem to be happy. You see that with sex, with not everyone, but I've seen that with a couple of pickup artists. Roosh V is a really good example of this, as someone who fell into the trap of constantly needing more sex and eventually had a big epiphany or a breakdown or whatever you want to call it, then realized, fuck, I don't think more sex is going to make me happy. I think I'm looking for some sort of deeper meaning there. So in this chapter, I talk about how to not move the goalposts and basically how to appreciate the journey, how to be happy every day of working on your goals, rather than saying to yourself, I'll be happy once I reach my goal. I think a lot of people do that by default. They say, I'll be happy once I've lost weight. I'll be happy once I've had more sex. I'll be happy once I have blah, 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 whatever it is that they're working towards. And then they suffer during that process, or they see it as hard work. They see it as a chore. They think they have to suffer, or we often think we have to suffer in order to reach our goals, and we really don't. So in this chapter, I talk about how to do that. So I'm super excited, in case you can't tell, for this video course. I'm pretty happy with everything that I've done so far. These are all slideshows that I will basically be reading off when I record it as a video course. And these slideshows will also be part of the video course. I'm going to bundle it up into an ebook. So it's going to be an ebook along with a video course. And my God, am I fucking pumped to release this. I'm really fucking excited. I've put so much fucking effort into this damn thing. And I've been doing nothing but this for the last month. It'll probably be another month before I am finished with it. But it really does feel like it's going to be as big as the Tinder guide was. There's definitely as much love as I poured into the Tinder guide. In this, I've really put my heart and soul into this. And I think this is more of the how to achieve goals and how to be happy along the way without suffering. So I'm super fucking pumped for this. What I'm probably going to do is release it to all of you. I think this is what I want to do with it, because I think the stuff in this, obviously I want to make money from this. I'm building up a passive income so that I don't have to keep pushing for coaching and get people. I don't want that to be the only way that I make money, because it's not consistent. It's not reliable. And so I am doing this for money, but I think what I'm going to do is, and I'll probably do the same with Cam's book as well, is I will say that any of you can have it, and I'll give you a PayPal link or something, and you can just donate whatever you think it was worth, or however much money you have. So basically you can have it for, even if you only have $1, it's fine, then just give me $1 and you can have this course. And I'll probably do that to all of you. You can all have it for whatever amount you can pay for it, or whatever amount you want to pay for it. And once I've gone through the first round of giving it out to people, then I will sell it for however much I want to sell it for. I have no idea what I'm going to price it at. I could potentially price this pretty fucking high, $1,000 or something. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But yeah, all of you can have it for whatever you can pay. So don't worry about money. That's easy. All right, let's answer some fucking questions. Hey, holy shit. So a cunning linguist. Let's do some of these questions, brother. So a cunning linguist, or a linguist, good name, by the way. Okay, Andy, I have a really stupid question and rant. I feel shit talking about it since it seems delusional. Why would you feel shit talking about it? Don't you want to talk through the things that don't seem delusional? It's a great way to process them. Also, what's the other option? Bottle it up and just never talk about it? That doesn't really work. So what can one do who has been trying for years, has done self-improvement, been to therapy, but just doesn't seem to get it? Okay, so my first question to you is, what is it that you're trying to get? What is it? Do you even know what it is? Have you defined it? Often we sit there chasing, enlightenment or happiness or it. I just want to chase it. And it's but you don't even know what that is. How would you even know how to begin with that? I see this a lot when people tell themselves that they have to find their purpose or their mission or their meaning of life or whatever. And they'll put all this pressure on themselves that like, I have to seek out the fucking answer. You, in your own words, I've been trying for years. I've done self-improvement. I've been to therapy. I'm just not getting it. It's like, what if you gave up? And this is going to sound like a radical thing for you. What if you gave up trying to get it? What if you just be a person that doesn't get it? Fine. You know what? I've tried for fucking years and I can't get it. I give up. I don't get it. What's for breakfast? What should I have for breakfast? Like, what if you just give up this entire battle in the first place? And I know that might sound like a radical notion. If you've been trying for years, I'm essentially asking you to kill your God. I'm essentially asking you to give up the thing that you have refused to give up for years. But it's not really giving up and quitting. You can call it that if you want to. It's giving up the battle. It's giving up the war and just saying, you know what, I surrender. A big part of the video course that I'm talking about here is, let me see if I can find it so I can just show it to you on screen. I can't remember which chapter I put it in. But I talk a little bit about like surrendering or letting go and knowing when to let go. And I talk about that every problem has a solution, but sometimes the solution is to just let go and say, do you know what? Maybe I can't solve this problem. Here, I found the thing that I'm talking about. Let me put it on the screen. So yeah, hopefully you can read this. Sometimes I have found that the solution is accepting reality or accepting the current situation as it is and not arguing with it or wishing it was different. This is not the same as giving up. It's accepting with grace that some things are the way that they are, and then I spend my time and energy on the things that I can change or improve. In other words, this is knowing where to spend my time. You know, the example, a woman doesn't want to date me. Like, I could sit there and go like, why won't she give me a chance? Or I could say, you know what? She didn't want to give me a chance. That's cool. I'll go talk to another girl. You know, if I lose my job, I could say, why did I lose my job? This sucks. So I could say, hey, I lost my job. Cool. There's no point arguing with my boss. He doesn't want me to work there anymore. I'm going to work on my resume and I'm going to go apply for another job and I'll be happy. So that can sometimes be the solution. And I'm not guaranteeing that that is the solution for you, but I've worked with enough depressed people. I've worked with people with mental health issues. I've worked with suicidal clients. A really good example of what I'm talking about here is if you go on my channel after this live stream, or pause the live stream and go now if you want to, look up Thea, Thea, or just look up the word depressed. I did an interview with a client that I worked with, a woman named Thea, and she was super suicidal and super depressed, and she had been to therapy and all of this kind of stuff, and all of her family and friends were trying to help her like fix her depression and fix her suicidal thoughts. And one of the first things that I said to her is, what if you just be a woman with suicidal thoughts and you go, cool, I want to kill myself again. What's for breakfast? Like, what if you stop trying to actually fix the damn thing since you've tried really fucking hard for the last 6 months or so and it hasn't worked? What if you just give up that battle and just be okay as you are now? In other words, can you be okay? And I'll say the same to you. Can you be okay while being mentally ill? Like, can that be okay? And again, this might sound like a very radical notion, and there is a lot of subtleties here that I maybe can't get across to you in a fucking live stream where I'm just answering your question. It would be a lot different if we were sitting down for a coaching call or if I was talking to you in person. But yeah, what if you just try that? You know? What if you stop seeing yourself as broken? What if you stop seeing yourself as like, I'm fucked, I'm mentally ill? What if you just go, cool, I'm mentally ill, great. What do I want to work on today? And you almost just kind of put it to the side and accept it in a weird way and say, hey, cool, I'm mentally fucking ill, cool. How do I go talk to my friends? How do I go outside and go for a nice walk? Why don't I be the mentally ill person who sits in a park and listens to the birds and is grateful for the sun on my face? And yeah, I'm fucked, but cool, who cares? Cool. This has been a game changer for me. This is something that I've had to do a lot. I've had a lot of mental issues. I've had a lot of things that I could say hold me back, or mild autism, ADHD for sure. And I could sit there and say, you know, my life sucks with these things. In Imogen, my girlfriend's case, bulimia, you know, and all of the things that come with that, binge eating and bulimia. And she's found a lot of peace in just saying, cool, I'm bulimic. Sweet. What do I want to do today? Cool, I'm neurotic. You know, she can be neurotic and get caught up in negative thinking and all of that. Cool, I'm depressed, I'm neurotic. What do I want to do today? I'll just be the neurotic girl that goes and hangs out with her friends. I'll be the depressed person that sits in a park and just smiles at people who walk by. Like, a lot of the time we get so caught up in trying to fix this thing that we delay our own happiness and we don't work on our goals and we don't have the life that we want. Because we've inserted this extra step of I have to fix this. I have to stop being mentally ill. I have to be happy. It's like, what if you skip that whole chase of happiness and you just be? What if you just be? Warts and all, flaws and all, mental illness and all, what if you just try that? So, yeah. Like, if I continue reading what you're saying, yeah. I got therapy. I'm still clueless on how to fix myself. What if you just don't fix yourself? What if you just be broken? Broken. I don't think you're broken. But what if you just be broken and just live your life? Again, this is all stuff where I'm missing the subtleties because I'm just reading to you, on a live stream. But yeah. If you want more help with this, by the way, I'm very happy to do like a coaching call with you. You do one of the like $200 coaching calls and we can sit down with this shit. Obviously, there's the big coaching program as well. But yeah. And feel free to say more follow-up questions on that if you want, by the way. All right. Irrelevant says, hey, Andy, you wonderful man. Hello, Irrelevant. You're not irrelevant, by the way. Irrelevant. You're very relevant. Amog That's a cool name, by the way. How do you overcome inferiority complex when approaching women? By doing it, my man. By doing it. So, yeah, I actually, in the video course that I'm doing, so I'm going to reference this video course a lot today because I'm super excited about it because I've just spent the last month doing this. I talk about inferiority complex. I talk about like limiting beliefs. I talk about your fears, your insecurities. So like, honestly, dude, if you want, I can give it to you for free right now. Read what's on the screen. Pause this afterwards and just read what's on the screen. So read that. How do I get to the next slide? Read all that. Pause and 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 read all that. I'm just going to flick through all these. You can pause and read if you want to. There's a lot here, hey. This is just one of the chapters. But I feel like this is one of the big important chapters. Like fear, limiting beliefs, doubt, and all of that. There you go. So just read all that, brother. Like pause after the thing. But the super short answer is you're going to overcome that inferiority complex by doing it a lot. It is one of those things that will just magically get better. If you talk to a lot of women and you have a lot of good responses, and even some bad responses, those make you stronger, those make you more resilient. There are no bad responses because they all lead to your self-improvement and your resilience. But if you do it a lot of times, like you'll see that some women love you approaching them. They're like, good job, you're so amazing. And so you'll get some numbers. Some of them will go on dates with you and you go, oh shit, like fuck this inferiority complex. Now I feel good about myself. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, that thing that I just showed on the screen, pause it and read each slide. And all of that gives like a more detailed answer. But this is one of those things. You're just going to feel a little bit better when you do the thing. And there isn't a lot that I can say to you right now other than I promise you'll make it. I promise you'll be okay. But there's not a lot that I can say to you right now that will make you feel anywhere near as good as just doing this thing 100 times. So put that in your head. Say, okay, I just have to do 100 of these approaches. I just have to talk to 100 women. And after I've talked to 100 women, I will start to feel like I'm allowed to do this. I deserve to do this. I'm good at this. You'll start to feel like you're capable. So it's one of those things where it's like, just do the thing, man. And I promise you'll feel better. Everything Irrelevant wrote is, ironically, very relevant. So he says, I'm assuming it's a he. He says, first you can work on yourself. Yeah, so self-improvement is a big one. Pull yourself out of depression. Build an amazing circle of friends. You'll get more confidence in yourself, and that will help with the inferiority. Yeah, so that's a point I didn't even make yet. Build up the rest of your life as well, so that you're not just relying on women to give you validation. You have friends, you have a cool life going on, you have lots of hobbies, you like yourself. So you can do things like mirror therapy, which is where you look in the mirror and you say to yourself, I love you, and just sort of see how that feels. I do that every day, and I've done that every day for the last year. So that's something you can do. On top of that, you can write a list of 50 things and maybe just start with 10, but write 10 reasons why you're likable, like 10 qualities that you have. And if you get to 10, then do 20, then do 30, then do 40, then do 50. And you can slowly build this up. You don't have to do this all at once. You could write this list over the next 6 months if you want to. But having that list and write it down on a piece of paper, having that list is sort of self-esteem. It's building your self-esteem because you go, okay, like, look, it doesn't matter if I have an inferiority complex when I approach women. I have 50 things about myself that are likable. I'm okay. I'm pretty good. I don't need validation from other people. And yes, I still want to approach women. I still like them. They're attractive. They're pretty. They're cool. They're interesting. They're feminine. I want to keep talking to them, but I don't need their validation. I don't need their love because I've given that love to myself. So I would do that. So write a list of 50 things that are likable about yourself. And I can already give you 2. Here's one. You're brave and you ask questions when you're unsure of something. You're humble enough to ask when you don't know something because you've just asked this question. You're clearly into self-improvement or you wouldn't be doing this. You clearly love yourself to some degree. You love yourself a lot. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to be working on yourself and, improving your inferiority complex. So there you go. There's like 4 or 5 already. Flesh that list out and get up to like 20 or so. And then the second thing that irrelevant says is very relevant. Yeah. The second one is head on. Just go talk to women. Yeah, exactly what I just said. Sure, you will still have the inferiority complex, but you'll quickly realize that no matter what, women are still nice to you if you're presenting mostly nicely. Yeah, so that helps too. Like literally just going and talking to a lot of women and saying, oh, most of them are pretty nice and they'll be nice to me. And they're probably never going to be anywhere near as hard on me as I am on myself. And it's okay if you're hard on yourself, but you're going to see that women are like super nice. And even if they're not, like you're still building that self-esteem. And by the way, they are. There's almost no women that are mean to you. But you're building that self-esteem by doing the thing. Irrelevant says, it's like 1 a.m. I knocked myself out of keto and I have a sugar high. Are you still doing keto? No. So I'm counting calories at the moment. So I do keto every now and then as like a quick boost to like lose weight over like a week or 2. But no, I'm not doing keto right now. I have 2 friends that are. That have done, actually I have like 5 friends that are, and some of them are like hardcore carnivores, so they literally only eat meat, and they've been doing it for like years, like 3 or 4 years, and it's working really well for them. They like it. I have a couple of friends. I have one friend in particular who had a lot of health problems, and she did keto and that fixed most of her health problems, and then her boyfriend started doing keto as well, and that helped him a lot too. So yeah, I think I just like normal food too much. When I say normal food, I mean like carbs, and I just like normal food. So I don't know that I'd ever do keto permanently, but I love to dabble with it and dance with it and go into it from time to time. So yeah. A Lunning Kingwist says, I just want to be liked so badly. I have wonderful friends in social life, but zero romantic or sexual experience. I'm 29. So I just want to be liked so badly. I'll say this to you in a blunt way, and I mean this with love, but hopefully this sort of like hits you. I just want to be liked so badly. Do you like yourself? And I already know the answer to this, but like, do you like yourself? And the answer is no. So why the fuck should we all do something that you're not willing to do yourself? Why the fuck should women like you if you don't like yourself? That's hypocritical, brother. And again, I mean this with love. This is not meant as an accusation or something, but why should women like you? Women should like me. Is that true? No. Women don't owe you anything. The world doesn't owe you anything. If you want that, you go first. You are with yourself 24/7. If you're waiting for someone to like you or even for someone to love you, you go first. And so I would do some things like I would say, I love you to yourself every day in the mirror. And that might be really fucking hard for you if you're depressed and you felt suicidal and all of that. That might be unbelievably difficult. So be really fucking gentle with that. And if some thoughts come up, or if you have like some hateful thoughts, which you might, some of my clients have had that. They say, I love you to themselves in the mirror. And then thoughts come up like, fuck you, you piece of shit. You deserve to die. You don't deserve love. Like that shit might come up. be gentle with that. Take your time with this. This is something that you can learn to get good at over months or years. Like, you don't have to be an expert at loving yourself right from the very beginning. Another thing that helps is writing that list of 50 things about yourself that are likable. But I would start getting in touch with yourself. And it might sound like a strange way of phrasing it, but it makes perfect sense once you go through this journey. You're sitting there waiting for other people to like or love you. What if you were to start that romantic or self-loving relationship with yourself? What if you learn to love yourself? It's so much easier to love or to like the person that likes themselves, because you look at them and they love themselves, and not in a pride or an arrogance way, but a genuine love way. They're kind to themselves. They're nice to themselves. They understand themselves and they're accepting of themselves. They don't hate themselves. It's very easy to look at that person and like them. You can't help but like them. They just have a positive, beautiful energy about them. And so I would heal that relationship, or I would build that relationship. It's not even healing, it's building that relationship. You know, you say, I have zero romantic or sexual experience. Do you have any romantic experience with yourself? And I don't mean you sit there and caress yourself and go, oh, I love myself. Although you can do that too. I've explored that in like tantric settings with like a tantric teacher, like a sexual teacher and shit. That's interesting. But it's not so much that, though. Do that if you want to. It's more, what if I just go for a nice walk by myself and make myself feel good? Whatever I would do for my best friend if he was sad, what if I do that shit for myself? What if I look in the mirror and tell myself I love myself? What if I come up with these 50 reasons that I'm likable? What if I start to understand and accept myself instead of judging myself all the time? And, you know, the video course that I'm doing talks a lot about this kind of shit. Like I said, you can have that for whatever amount of money you want to give me for that once it's out. But yeah, I would start building that relationship with yourself, and don't stress if that takes a little bit of time. Don't stress if it feels weird. Don't stress if you go like, I don't want to do this. That's okay. But the rest of the world isn't going to love you. Like, it's not our job to go first. It's your job to go first. Irrelevant says, oh man, no matter where you are, I'd like to give you a hug, or I'd give you a hug if I was there. Hang in there, brother. It's possible. Yeah, everything is possible. Alex Schmidt says, how do you feel about people saying you can't be ethically non-monogamous unless you disclose the fact you're open before the first date? Okay, I'll be honest. I really struggle to answer questions like these. My brain freezes up because, you know, the question is like, how do you feel about people saying that? Here's how I feel. I feel good that they're saying, like, I think I misunderstand questions like these. Like, how do you feel? Like, I guess what you're saying is like, what is your opinion on people who say that you can't do this? I'll say like, well, they're just telling a story that you can't do that. You can do whatever you want. There's no, like, I really struggle with questions like this. Are you asking me for my opinion? Like what I recommend? Because if you're asking what I recommend you do whatever makes you happy. I have found in my own life that as early and upfront as I can be with my honesty, the happier I am. But I'm never going to tell you what to do. And so, yeah, I really struggle with questions like this. I'm not saying it's a bad question. I just struggle to answer the question. Like, how do I feel about people saying that you can't do that? I'm like, good. I want them to say whatever they want to say. And if they believe that you can't do that, then great. That they've found what works for them. So I'm a big libertarian hippie at the end of the day. I'm going to support you guys and girls doing whatever it is you want to do. I don't really have an opinion on whether or not something is right or wrong. To talk more about this, the video course that I'm doing, there's an entire chapter on everything as a story, and you're in control of the stories that you tell. And a big part of this, I talk about like, you know, there's two ways of looking at everything, and neither version of the story is right or wrong. They're just different tellings of the story. They're different ways of looking at things, or two different sides of the same coin. You can tell whatever story you want. So to bring that back to your question, which was essentially, you know, can you be ethically non-monogamous if you don't disclose it before the first date? You do whatever you want. Like, there is no right answer here, I guess is what I'm saying. And I'm saying it in a clumsy way, but at the end of the day, my advice and my content is always going to be centered around you guys and girls doing whatever it is that you want to do, and that the people you're with are happy to do as well. And I have just found in my own life that I like to be as upfront and honest as early as possible. So if you want to know what I do, obviously I'm dating women with Imogen, my girlfriend. We date women together. And it's so unbelievably upfront. It's in our Tinder profiles, or if we meet someone in person, we tell them straight away as soon as we either tell them in person, which sometimes happens, or we'll tell them as soon as we get their phone number. By the way, here's our situation. Here's what we're into, because we also talk about the fact that we're quite kinky and we like a lot of BDSM and we like to explore and all of that. We like doing photo shoots. We have a podcast, and if they're interested in coming on the podcast and talking about sex with us, they're welcome to. We say all that stuff up front, and that's in our Tinder and our Hinge bios. So like they can literally see that before they would even match with us. And we've just found that that works like quite well for us. So at the end of the day, do whatever you want. There are no right or wrong answers. And I know that lots of people will tell you that there's a right way of doing things. Believe me, I know. I'm a content creator. I get a lot of comments from someone saying, this is wrong. What you're saying is wrong. I can't believe you've said this. And every time I see that, I'm like, hey, I love that you know what you like. That's usually just what I reply. I'm glad that you know what you like. That's beautiful. I know what I like, and I'm going to do what I like to do, and you do what you like to do. And isn't that beautiful that there's space for us both to do what we want to do, and that we can go down different paths and have different opinions, and those things don't have to be a war. We don't have to say who's correct and who's wrong, because there's lots of that kind of shit on the internet, and I'm never going to be that person. I used to be that person. My early content was like that, but I'm not like that anymore. I just don't care about being right anymore. Being right hurts, because it's something you have to defend. It's effort. It also isn't true. Like, I'm not right. I'm just right for me. I've figured out what works for me. It doesn't mean it's right for you. It doesn't mean it's universally fucking right for everyone. Sorry, I'm reading through all the comments. Amor, and I'm mispronouncing your name, brother. Amog Agarwal. I'm assuming you're Indian or Pakistani or Sri Lankan or something, brother. Love the fucking name. I cannot pronounce it, dude. So you go on to say, I don't feel like this every day, as in you don't feel like imposter syndrome and insecure, but I sometimes feel that around very beautiful women. Yeah, so there's an article that I'm halfway through writing called Hot Women Are Just Experts at Looking Good. And the point that I make in that is like, and this is going to sound absolutely funny to any hot women listening. Hot women are just people too. Hot women are just human beings with a pussy. Like, they're just attractive. And any hot women listening, or any really attractive women listening, are going like, yes, I am a human. Congratulations. But we often do this weird thing. We do the same with celebrities. So celebrities are a really good example of this as well, where we look at the person and we almost think that they're a god. We do this with sports stars as well, like Olympic athletes and anyone in a sports team, like anyone. And I even get this sometimes where someone will do this with me, where just because you've seen the person a lot, you've told a lot of glamorous stories about who they must be. So you'll look at attractive or hot women and you'll tell a story of, oh my God, her life must be so perfect. She's so hot. She's so cool. I bet she does cool people things. And I'm over here doing loser people things. And like, you tell all these stories about how they're such a fabulous, wonderful, amazing, interesting person. But if you just actually talk to a lot of attractive women and ask them, yo, what is your life like? And do this in like an open, non-judgmental way. But if you just say like, what is your life actually like? Like, are you happy? What do you do on a day-to-day basis? Like, what does your average day look like? You'd probably be surprised that it's not any less boring than anyone else. Like, it's not amazing. And yeah, maybe on a Friday or Saturday night, they go clubbing and all the guys want them and all of that. But they feel insecure the same as you. They feel unattractive the same as you. They feel lonely sometimes. They feel everything a normal human being would feel because they're a human being. The same way that celebrities do. But we often like objectify the person and assume that their life must be perfect. So yeah, to answer your actual question, something that might help is if you talk to a few beautiful women, or a few attractive women, and literally just say, like try and bridge the gap between you and them. And so you can share some of your insecurities and say, yeah, I'll be honest, like I have insecurities that, you know, you're super attractive and like I don't have anything to offer, and like why would you even talk to me? Do you ever have like insecurities around people that you're attracted to? And every single attractive woman is going to go, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? I'm so unbelievably insecure. One of my favorite things to do with women that I'm sleeping with is when we're laying in bed together naked after sex, you know, we've had sex, we're cuddling, we're chilling, I'll say, yo, what are you insecure about? Tell me 5 things you're insecure about. And every single one of them immediately is like, oh my God, my eyebrows are horrible. Every woman listening is like, yeah, I'm insecure about my fucking eyebrows. My eyebrows are horrible. I hate my nose. I think that I'm not pretty enough. Like, I worry that I'm not intelligent and I have nothing interesting to say. I worry that I'm boring. Like, every person, or most people, are insecure about a lot of things. So it might help you to actually talk to a few and say, yo, what are you insecure about? Even when you start approaching on the street, you can literally just say, when you're talking to them, you can say, yo, I want to be real with you. Like, I'm insecure about a lot of things. And you can just list like a couple and they'll be like, I'm curious. Like, what are you insecure about? Like, I'm asking a bunch of women. I'm just curious. Like, what are attractive women like you get insecure about? And ask every woman that. And once you ask like 50 women that, you'll hear all these lists of things that they're insecure about that you never would have even imagined they'd be insecure about. Usually they're insecure about their looks, because if you're very attractive, everybody's constantly telling you that you're attractive, and you freak out and worry about like a pimple, or what if one day I'm not attractive and this is the main thing I have going for me? What if I lose that? Holy shit, I'd be fucked. And so talk to a few of them, ask their opinion, ask what they're insecure about. And I think you'll be surprised that like, holy shit, like they're human like me. It's easier to know that once you've had these conversations a few hundred times, but if you haven't, then yeah, you probably put them on a pedestal and you think they're like amazing, glamorous human beings. And they might be amazing, glamorous human beings, but they are just human beings. Every time someone posts a question, the chat automatically drops down to the bottom, and then I have to scroll back up. Irrelevant says, how are your business goals going in general? I'm assuming you're asking that of me and not someone in the chat. Pretty good. So I have about, I don't know, like $40,000 left to pay off on the tax debt that we owe. I am, as I said, building out. I showed this at the start of the thing, but I'll show it again. Like, Cam is pretty much finished this book that he's just written that I've paid him for, called How to Get Laid in 6 Weeks If You're a Virgin or Inexperienced. So we're going to sell that. I don't know how much we'll sell that for. Maybe $20. We'll see. So that'll bring a few people in. And I am in the middle of recording you can see all the slides here, recording a video course on how to win, or how I've built a winner's mindset. So I'll sell that for, I don't know, whatever I sell that for. Like I said, I'll be giving it to all of you you can just pay whatever you can afford to pay. I'll give you my PayPal link and you can just donate. Then you can have the video course. But yeah, building that sort of stuff up and just pushing the coaching more. When I say pushing, maybe that's not the right word, but like talking about the coaching more. Because that's something I used to struggle with a lot. I still do. Like, I'm getting better at it, but I always felt very weird talking about the coaching. I felt I had all sorts of limiting beliefs, like, you can't do that, you'd be a sellout and all that kind of stuff. So still working on that, but business goals going pretty good. We'll get there pretty soon. I expect that we'll pay off all the tax debt in the next year, and then it's positive and up from there. I have a lot of things I want to spend money on. I just haven't had any money for basically my entire life. That's a story that I have. I've always been poor, but once I have some money, I have some cool shit that I want to do with money. Like, I can't even imagine what it would like to have money. But I start getting really fucking excited when I think about it. The main thing I want to do, the first thing I want to do is put some away in savings so that I can have some fucking money and not freak out about, oh my God, how am I going to pay the bills? But the second thing I want to do is have some sort of it wouldn't be a competition, but it would be I don't know what the word is, but I would basically open it up to all of you. It would be like a grant. I would be giving money away, and I would give, I don't know, $5,000 or something to whoever has the best, or not best, but whoever has the most passionate business plan, I guess. Or maybe I do it like this. Whoever has the best use for the money. So I would say, I'm giving away $5,000. You all have a month or 2 weeks to get in your proposals to me and tell me how you would spend this money. And you could spend it on yourself. If you said, I'm just going to go balls, I've always wanted to lose weight and it's held me back for years and I've always been obese and I want to buy I want to get liposuction or something because I think that would genuinely change my life. Or if you say, I want to just go around for a month and give away $100 at a time to homeless people. Or I want to start my own business. I've always wanted to start my own business. I'm in the process of starting my own business, and this $5,000 would mean that I could buy this and this and this and this, and I could really turbocharge things and help people. Like, you can apply it in whatever way you want to use the money, and I would give it to whoever like has the. It would be up to me, my discretion, and maybe I would get Imogen and Cam and Ed and Taylor and a few other people to like weigh in, but it would be like whoever I think not deserves the money, but whoever I want to give the money to. That's how I'd phrase it. And so I'd probably do that. I mean, if I was rich, I'd do that every single fucking month. But like stuff like that is more that I want to do, more stuff that I want to do. But I fucking just can't do that right now. So I've wanted to do that for years. That's been like a dream that I've always had, to like give back and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the exciting stuff I'm looking forward to. Kevin. Are you Kevin from my coaching program? If so, hello, Kevin. Hey, Andy, how do you handle sleep from a psychological side? When I'm on a lack of sleep, my mental health is so much harder to manage, leading to a vicious downward cycle I can't easily fight. Yeah, so give yourself permission to suck with that. I know exactly what you're talking about. I used to get so grumpy when I was sleepy, like just unbelievably grumpy. And over time, over the years, it's taken me years, I can now handle a lack of sleep pretty well. Like I could have like 4 hours sleep 3 days in a row or something, which as a 36-year-old man, like really fucking affects me. Any of you in your 20s, you can get away with not having sleep. But when you start getting into your 30s, and I'm assuming 40s, 50s, and 60s, sleep deprivation does affect you a lot more. But I can have poor sleep like multiple days in a row and I won't be grumpy. Like I can detach from it. I want to be grumpy. Like my mental health maybe isn't as peaceful as when I get good sleep, but I can detach from it and almost give myself permission to suck with it and go, it's okay if I'm a little grumpy. And then that ironically makes me less grumpy and I'm more peaceful. So there's a million different things that I can do or I can give you. Giving yourself permission to suck is one. Obviously, being more peaceful and loving and all of that, which, all of my content or most of my content is centered around that. That stuff helps. Books like You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought help. Byron Katie and David Hawkins and all of that helps. But really, I would just be kind to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, if your mental health is a little harder to manage when you haven't had a lot of sleep, like, that's okay. Like, be peaceful with yourself. Go like, look, fine. My mental health is a little shitty today. I didn't get good sleep. Maybe I can just do something really nice for myself today. And what I would do on those days is almost take your to-do list and just slash it in half and go, okay, whatever I said I wanted to do today, what if I just do 25% of that? I'm really tired. I might not be fully capable, or I might be, but like, I don't want to be. It would be a nice gift to myself if I just sort of only do 25% of my to-do list today. And I kind of just take it easy and take it chill and spend the rest of my time, I just walk around in a park or something, or I play some fucking video games, or I go and see my friends and hang out with my boys, or I go to bed early and just do something nice for myself. Like, I give myself a little bit of an opportunity to, waste the day, so to speak. That's what I do when I'm really tired. I literally just go, okay, maybe my output isn't going to be 100% today. That's okay. How do I just focus on having a good day, a beautiful day, whatever kind of shit you would do for your best friend? If your best friend came to you and said, oh my God, I only got like fucking 4 hours sleep last night, you'd probably be like, bro, do you want to just take like half a day off or something and just chill? Just go sit on the beach, bro. Like, relax. Go sit in a park or something. That's what you'd say to your friends. So just say that shit to yourself. So take off some of that pressure. But I promise you'll get better at this over time and give yourself permission to suck in that. And then obviously, like, another answer is, like, prioritize the sleep. But I believe that you're doing that already. So you don't stress yourself out if you don't sleep that well. That's okay too. Like, a lot of us are pushing ourselves like fucking crazy with all of our goals. And so sleep might suffer sometimes, and try not to let that be the case. But if it is, like, hey, that's okay. Like, you're doing your best. You know what I mean? Amog, and I know I'm not pronouncing your name. Amog says, I am 18 in a college, but due to balding, I feel like this sometimes. And I also want to talk to women and have amazing experiences with them. I am completely bald. Look at this big, beautiful, bold, shiny egg head. I promise your balding doesn't matter. I understand all of the insecurities about it. You can search my channel for the word bald. I've done so many pieces of content about, bald coaching clients of mine who still have sex and have an amazing sex life. I've talked about my own journey with balding. I've talked about how insecure I used to feel about it. I was so unbelievably insecure and depressed about it. I would literally wear a beanie or a hat in the bedroom during sex, and women would often be like, "Why are you wearing your beanie?" And I would just like refuse to take my beanie off because I had like a receding hairline like here, and I was thinning really intensely from like 25 years old onwards. And I was really insecure about it, but I promise like women aren't noticing it anywhere near as much as you are. And the thing that will make you feel better is going and talking to a lot of women and seeing that they don't give a shit. Like, I can't necessarily make you feel better. I can tell you that they won't care. You can watch all of my videos and everybody else's videos about how balding doesn't matter and it really isn't that big a deal and who cares. But the thing that'll make you feel better is you actually talking to a lot of women and seeing that they don't care. Or some of them might care. That's great. Like, those aren't the women that you're looking for. They just want something different to you, and that's okay. Go find the women that don't care. Oh my God. There are a lot of questions here. I love that you guys are talking to each other as well, like supporting each other. You guys and girls are also fucking nice to each other. I really love this community. Irrelevant says, I'm sure Andy will recommend Byron Katie's work process for that. Yeah, I always recommend Byron Katie. Amog says, also, should I do a 30-day approach challenge in a college talking to at least one new woman? I love when people ask me a question of like, should I? Because what you're really saying, first of all, there are no shoulds. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But what you're really asking me here is, Andy, can you please like tell me to do it so I can have some motivation? It's like, no, I'm not going to tell you to do it. If you say to me, Andy, can you please tell me to do it? Then I'll give you that. I'll say, yes, do it. But when you say, should I will always say, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to do this? Because if I say to you, yeah, you should, a lot of the time you'll go, yeah, I know I should, and then you won't actually do it. Like, the word should is like guilt tripping. Like, I'm guilt tripping you into doing it. Yeah, you should do that. You start feeling guilt. You're like, yeah, I feel guilty that I'm not doing it. I know I should, and then you don't do it. Guilt isn't very motivating. Guilt kind of makes us shut down, and we're actually less likely to take action in a lot of cases. And so rather than saying, should I, the first question to ask yourself is, do I want to? Do I want to do a 30-day approach challenge in a college talking to at least one new woman? Do you want to? If you want to, then you'll do it. If you don't want to, then you won't do it. But there is no should. So try not to use guilt. Try and just ask yourself, what do I want? And that's a habit that you build. You get really good at saying to yourself, what do I actually want? But whatever you want, that's what you'll do. And if you want to do this, then fuck yeah, it sounds like a beautiful idea. And if you don't do it, that's okay too. Like, your life isn't going to suffer because you didn't talk to one woman every single day for 30 days. You don't die because you didn't talk to a woman every single day. But yeah, if you want to do it, then you'll do it, brother. And if you don't, then you won't. Kevin goes on to say, when I'm sleep deprived, it's like playing life in hard mode. My inner demons have such a louder voice when I'm sleep deprived, which leads to more anxiety and more bad sleep. Yeah, like that's, a lot of people feel like that. But why is that a bad thing? You tell a story that that's a bad thing, and then it kind of like self-perpetuates. Oh my God, I'm sleep deprived. Now I have these inner demons. Oh my God, they're getting louder. Oh my God, then I'm going to get to more anxiety and more bad sleep. You can kind of just be okay with that whole thing. And I know that that's like easier said than done. And that's why I said give yourself permission to suck with this stuff. You will get like better with this stuff. I promise. Like, yeah. I'm reading through all of your comments here. A Lunning Kingwist says, what comes after self-improvement? Whatever you want. I guess I would say is there something after self-improvement? Maybe death, maybe peace. I don't know. But essentially, whatever you want. I got to a point where I felt like I had done most of what I wanted to do with my self-improvement. And you can see me now going down the path of more like peace and happiness and, maybe you can call it like enlightenment, but that word doesn't fully resonate with me all the time. But peace and just being okay and being happy. I have a whiteboard sitting in the other room where every year I write all of my goals and I work towards them. And, in previous years, I've had stuff like make a ton of money, make $15,000 in a month, do this, have sex with this many women, do all of that, and, lose weight and all of that. And this year, all I wrote down was fall in love with every single moment. In other words, just be present, just be here. Whatever happens, happens. Just be part of it. Just enjoy it. Doesn't matter if it's good, doesn't matter if it's bad. There is no good, there is no bad. Just enjoy it. And so that's what's coming for me at the end of, towards, I don't even want to say it like that. That's where I'm at currently, but am I still improving? Yeah. It's like Irrelevant went on to say, self-improvement is a process. You don't really stop it. You can stop it if you want to, but I just haven't wanted to. I don't know why I ever would want to. Like even the people that reach some sort of enlightenment, like Buddha or, from the Bible, like Jesus and stuff like that, you'd think those are the people that have like finished self-improvement, and yet not really, because then they go out and spread their message. So that's their new goal, is to like spread their message and tell people about it and help people and, remove suffering from the world and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not like self-improvement is some sort of like mission that you have to tick off. And maybe, I don't know, I haven't talked to you, but maybe you're thinking that it's some sort of like checkbox that you have to tick. And once I finish my self-improvement, once I fix myself, then I'll be happy. Like, no, that doesn't seem to be my experience. My experience is I can be happy and then still want to improve myself and still want to do more things. So, yeah. As Irrelevant goes on to say to you, by the way, like everything you're saying, talking to a Lunning Kingwist, everything you're saying probably needs a deeper inspection than can be just done on YouTube chat. Yeah. Like, and, Irrelevant's writing some good shit to you, but like, yeah, we are just talking at you right now rather than listening to you. It's harder to listen to you. But yeah, so you go on to say, I have zero money currently. I can't do a call with Andy, which, yeah, fair enough. Like spend your money however you want. I think you're still coming at it from the mindset, and maybe what I said to you at the start didn't actually click, and that's okay. Like you're in the middle of believing your own stories, and I can hear the stories. They're very strong for you, and that's fine. Like we all believe our own stories. We get it caught up in certain ways of thinking. But I can see what you're saying. You have a story here of like, friends, coaches, and therapists. None of them get it. None of them get me. Are you attaching to that? I say this a lot when people come to me with depression, and I try and say it gently, and I hope this comes across as gentle, and if it doesn't, that's okay. But you're very arrogant. I mean that with love. Like, look at this story. Nobody understands me. No friend, no coach, no therapist understands me. I'm special. My case is very interesting. And I think if I could sit down with Andy, my case would be very interesting, and it would help others like that. I mean this with love. Your case is really boring. I've talked to and coached and worked with like 50 people like you, like who say the exact same stuff as you. And I know from where you are, and I'm trying really hard to say this with love, my friend, where you are, because you're in the middle of your suffering, because you're in the middle of believing your stories, because you're attached to the story that I'm special and I can't be helped and I'm broken and I'm unlovable and I'm fucked and I'm 29 and no one loves me. And you're attached to all of those stories. And so from your point of view, it feels very unique. It feels like you're the special snowflake who's unfixable and nobody else gets it and everybody else is different. And I understand that, brother, but the number of times, it really is like 50 times at this point, where I've sat down with someone for a coaching call or multiple coaching calls, and they have this, they talk exactly like you. Like I understand you're saying you think your case is very interesting. To me, it's really boring. And that doesn't mean I don't care. No, quite the opposite. But it's very normal, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Normal is a better word than boring. I don't think you're boring, but I don't think it's interesting at all. No. And the number of times, like I said, that I've sat down with someone, we talk through this shit, and I usually hit them right early on with, hey, why are you so arrogant? And they almost always go, what the fuck? Why are you saying I'm arrogant? I'm depressed. You can't say that to someone who's depressed. And it's like, no, you're narcissistic. You think that you're the only person on the planet who's unfixable. You think that your case is unique and special. And we are all unique and special, of course. We're all beautiful snowflakes, of course. And I mean that quite genuinely. But like, no, nothing you're saying is different from anyone else. You're just believing your stories. If you want, brother, maybe this video will help you. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. Like, you'll be helped when you're ready to be helped. And it doesn't sound like, from what you're saying, it doesn't sound like you're ready to be helped yet. That's why you haven't been helped yet. As vague as that might sound, but this article might help you. It's on my website. You can just search for hopeless or the word helpless and go read through all of this. And I specifically talk about, like, you know, your condition. So go through and read this, but particularly watch this video. There's a really good part in this video where this guy on the right, so he's the one that's getting a counseling session essentially with this guy on the left who's like a psychologist. And the guy on the right is saying all the same stuff you're saying. You know, my situation is unique. I'm particularly fucked and all of this. And he's almost not listening to anything the psychologist on the left is saying. And I mean this gently, you're doing the same thing here. You're not really, it's not internalizing. And I'm going to assume you've never really listened to anything that a psychologist or a therapist or a friend or anything has said to you. And fair enough. Like, I understand from your point of view, it might feel like they don't understand me. No, you don't understand yourself and you don't understand them. But anyway, that's a separate discussion. This video is very, very, very helpful, at least to me and a lot of clients. And I'm not saying it will help you, because if you're in the middle of believing your stories, and if you're attached to the idea that you're special and that you can't be helped, then yeah, why the fuck would this video help you? But it might help you. And so this guy on the right is very much saying the same things you're saying. And then like an hour or two into this coaching session, the guy on the left basically says, you know, everything I'm saying to you, you're just dismissing and swatting away, and you're clearly very intelligent. And, you know, you are kind of a Lin incongruous. You're probably quite intelligent too. You seem quite intelligent. And the intelligence is almost a curse, because it means that you can come up with evidence or rational logic as to why every counselor is wrong, or every psychologist is wrong, or what Andy's saying is wrong, or what this irrelevant guy in the chat to you now is saying is wrong. And you'll swat all of it away because you're smart enough to have rational reasons why we're all wrong. But you're not actually listening. And so that hopelessness that this guy has, and that maybe you have as well, that label that you're attached to of I'm unfixable, I'm broken, I can't be helped, that's protecting you. It's serving a purpose. It's keeping you nice and complacent. It also is a little ego boost in a weird way that you might not understand, but it's a little dopamine hit of I'm special, I'm unique, I'm the one that can't be helped. You know, even what you sort of said, and again, I mean this gently, but you saying like, I think that I'm very interesting and Andy would find my case very interesting. I really wouldn't. You think I would because of the, you know, story that you have that you're some unique, unfixable person, but it's a lot more common than you think. So I don't know if any of that will help, but my mission right now isn't necessarily to help you. And if we ever did do a call, and do one if you want to or don't, I actually, funnily enough, wouldn't be trying to help you on that call. I would just be trying to listen to you and to love you. That's all I would give you. And so I can't even guarantee that I would fix you, because I don't think you're broken, but I would sit there and I would love you as best I could. And I would listen to you as best I could. All right. Next, Kyle K says, do you have any articles? I have lots of articles or videos. I have lots of videos about not running out of things to say with strangers you have nothing in common with. No. No, so I laugh because, brother, that's like the opposite of my content. Fuck no. Like, that's the polar opposite. Because my content, my life, the way that I've structured my life, and do whatever you want, but what's worked best for me is spending time with people that I have things in common with. And so, like, yeah, that's like the opposite. And nothing wrong with that, by the way. Like, I'm not saying not to spend time with people that you have nothing in common with, but I just, in my own life, I walk away from those conversations. So I'm not the person to ask about that. I would ask, there's lots of like YouTube channels about like charisma on demand and, psychology, how to fucking be interesting and say psychologically amazing things and pick up artists and stuff like that. I would go and check out that content because that's just like not my vibe. So if I was ever with a stranger and we had nothing in common, I would literally politely excuse myself and be like, hey, it was lovely chatting to you. Like, goodbye. Like, yeah. One more thing I guess I can say to that, which is kind of a different way of looking at it from what I just said, is my experience is there aren't a lot of people that I have nothing in common with. Like, at the end of the day, we're all humans. We all have 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 eyes, a nose, like 2 ears. There's a lot we have in common. We all want to be loved. We all want to be understood. We all want to be happy. Like, we have a lot in common. So I'm pretty decent at bonding with people over anything like that. But if I was talking to a stranger and they weren't giving me anything back, and so it felt like we had nothing to talk about, yeah, then I would walk away. You spend time with whoever you want to spend time with. So that's kind of my philosophy. So I'm just reading through all the questions or the chat. Borealis says, hey, Andy, I keep starting and stopping my dating efforts. I push hard on Tinder. I get a date. It goes okay, but I don't feel very attracted because I'm not getting attractive or hot girls right now. Then I lose motivation for weeks. Is there a question in that? Feel free to like ask a question after that. Because yeah, I don't know what you want. I can ask it back to you. What do you want? What do you want from me? So anytime there's no question and someone just writes a comment like this, where you're sort of wanting me to ask the question or to dig for the question, I'll just say like, what do you want? Like, what would you like from me? Would you like me to push you? Would you like a motivational speech from me? Would you like me to like help you be more consistent? Like give you some tips on being more consistent? Do you want some like not mental health, but like happiness tips? Like how to be peaceful and happy on this journey so that you don't stop and start with like the things that you want, so you don't get frustrated and stop for a while and then yeah, like tell me more about like what you want, what I can give you. Lunning Kingwis goes, you go on to say like, yeah, fair, that's so true, very interesting and relatable. Yeah, man, and like everything I was saying, I'm trying to say it with love, and I understand that like I am also being blunt with this stuff, but yeah, I've just worked with enough guys and girls like you. And I used to be exactly the same. I honestly really thought that I was like unique and special and that my hopelessness and my situation was common. I can't tell you how many times like I've had someone come on a coaching call with me or join the proper hardcore coaching program and they're so utterly convinced that their situation is so unique. Like virgins, like Ed being a good example, virgins who are 31 and severe erectile dysfunction. I worked with a client for about 6 months who had penis surgery and it was botched, and so his penis didn't work. Like quite literally, he was incapable of an erection. Like his dick literally didn't ever work. And he was like, I must be the most unique situation ever. And I was like, not really. Like, yeah, I've never worked with someone whose penis doesn't work at all, but like, you're not any different from anyone else who's trying to, feel some love, feel some acceptance, feel some happiness, like work towards their goals. You're exactly the same. So I've yet to date never met someone that was really like unfixable, because the real 420 IQ realization that maybe you'll get to one day, maybe you won't, it doesn't matter if you do, doesn't matter if you don't, but the real realization is you were never broken in the first place. Like there's not something wrong with you. You tell a story that there is. You tell a story that you're unlovable, that you're broken, that you're fixed, that you need fixing, that you're fucked. And it might sound like some hippie, like lovey-dovey shit, but like you're not actually broken. Like there's actually nothing wrong with you. And I know that might go counter to everything you have told yourself for the last 10 years. And it might sound like I'm trying to kill your God because you've worshipped at the temple of self-hatred, or you've worshipped at the temple of self-pity for the last however long, or worshipped at the temple of feeling like you're not good enough, or there must be something wrong with you. And so it feels like a very counterintuitive thing to hear me say, there's nothing wrong with you. But sit with that for a little bit. Ask yourself, is there something wrong with me? And if you feel like there is, then sure, you can keep that story. But it's just my experience as someone who has been doing this for a long time. that no one is broken and no one is unfixable. But if you believe that you're broken and unfixable, I don't want to take that away from you. That's not my job. It's not my job to tell you that you're wrong, or to take away the stories that are in your head, or to tell you that your thinking is broken or wrong, or no. Like, in that case, my only job would be to love you and to be nice to you and try and be kind. And I'm trying to be as kind as I can here. All right. Valentine says, any advice when it comes to flirting or sexualizing with girls from other countries and cultures? Do you want to give me more of a... yeah, because you go on to say, do you want to tell me like which country you're talking about? Are you specifically meaning conservative cultures? Because I've slept with and dated lots of like Vietnamese and Chinese girls, and they tend to be ridiculously conservative. So, funny story, Vietnamese and Chinese, they don't have any sort of sexual education in school, and their parents usually don't talk to them at all about sex. And so like I've had some wild experiences with some like virgin Chinese or Vietnamese girls who like literally didn't understand, like one girl in particular who was like 23 and a virgin, and she didn't understand that when a man orgasms, you know, cum shoots out, like he shoots out ejaculation. She literally didn't know that. And I thought she was fucking with me, and maybe it's a little bit mean, but it was also so fucking hilarious. Basically, the first time we had sex, I was getting really close to coming, and I was like, I'm going to come. And she's like, what does that mean? And I was like, well, I mean, like, I'm going to orgasm, you know, I'm going to shoot. And she's like, what does that mean? And I was like, wait, are you fucking with me? And she's like real serious. And she's like, what does that mean? And so we kind of stopped having sex, and I was like, you know, when like a guy like orgasms, like, you know what an orgasm is for you, right? And she was like, no, because she'd never had an orgasm. And that's like pretty common for lots of Chinese and Vietnamese girls that I've dated. And so I was like, okay, well, like, you know how when I rub you, it feels good? And she's like, yeah. If I was to keep going, eventually you would feel really good. And she's like, oh, okay. Like, and she understood that concept. I think she had some understanding of orgasm. But I was like, you know what happens when a man orgasms, right? And she was like, no. And so I was like, wait, you're fucking with me. So I was like, I start slowly jerking off, and I'm kind of like sitting, like kneeling, kind of, she's laying down on her back, and I'm kind of sitting on her chest, I guess. And my cock is like really close to her face, and I'm just like really gently stroking. And I was like, and this is where it's maybe a little bit mean, but it was also fucking funny. I was like, you're fucking with me, right? Like, you know what's going to happen when I come. Like, I'm really close to coming. You know what's going to happen, right? And she's like, genuinely like serious. Like, she's like, no. And I'm getting closer and closer, and I was like, I'm going to come soon. Like, are you sure you don't know? And she's like, no, I don't. And so she gets really close to, and I was like, well, like, you know what's going to happen with my dick, right? And she's like, no. And she like gets really serious and like interested, almost like it's not sexual anymore. She's just really curious. And she like sits up a little bit, and she has her eye like really close to my dick, and she's staring at it. And I was like, are you sure you want to be that close? Like, I'm about to come. And she's like basically looking at my dick, at the head of my dick. And I was like, you must be fucking with me. You're fucking with me, right? And she's like, no, I really don't know. And so I'm like, I'm about to come. Like, are you sure that you want to be like that close? And she's like, I'm really curious. And I was like, okay. And it's kind of like when a little kid like puts his eye up to the hose to look down it, and you're like, oh fuck, I really want to turn the hose on right now, while they're like staring down the hose. And so I was like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah. So I come, and like it shoots out, and it like hits her in the face, and she screams. She's like, ah, like, and she like screams, and I just start cracking up, and like it hits her in the face, and she's like, what the hell is that? And I was like, did you fucking really not know that stuff comes out of a penis? And yes, she had like no fucking idea. So I know that doesn't answer your question at all, brother. But that was a funny little thing that used to happen when I would date like Vietnamese or Chinese girls. Like, they often knew like nothing about sex. Like, they didn't know about orgasms. They didn't know like what would happen with my dick. They didn't know how sex worked. They would usually know how to kiss, because it's kind of easy to figure out how to kiss. But yeah, so I guess any advice when it comes to flirting or sexualizing with them? Give me a little more context. Like, are you talking about like on a first date, or like what do you mean? Like, I'm not 100% sure what you mean. I have dated lots of other conservative girls as well. I've dated a couple of like Polish women. Like, Eastern European women tend to be a little more conservative, but I haven't traveled to those countries. So, you know, keep that in mind. But generally speaking, it's just, I've always just done the same stuff that I do with Western women. It's just that women from conservative cultures and countries tend to want to go a lot slower. I'm still doing everything exactly the same, because I'm a very sexual person, and I don't change that depending on someone. Like if they're from a conservative culture, I'm still very honest about my sexuality. But I take a lot of I kind of go with the vibe of what they're doing, if that makes sense. So if you want to know what that looks like, maybe I will, I'm very honest about what I want. So maybe I would say, yo, you're really attractive. I want to kiss you right now. Like if we're on a first date, I'd be like, yo, I want to kiss you right now. And a lot of conservative women will be like, oh, like, too soon. It's too soon. I don't want to. And I'll be like, that's cool. Yeah, like whenever you want to. And then I'll just ask again later. Maybe I'll ask later in the date. And maybe she says yes. Maybe she's like, no, it's too soon. And maybe I'll have a conversation about it and be like, oh, when do you normally kiss? And, they might be like on, I don't know, on like date 5. And then we'll just talk about it. And I'll be like, oh, well, like, I usually kiss way before that. I don't know that I want to wait till date 5, but if we wait till date 5, that's fine. But I'm really into you. Here, where I'm from, we're a little more sexual, but I understand that where you're from, you're not as sexual. We just fucking talk about it. I kind of play it by ear, but yeah, I don't tend to change what I'm doing, but I will still initiate in the same ways that I normally would, but I'll kind of roll with the punches and whatever they are comfortable with. Because at the end of the day, it's only fun if, my mindset is it's only fun if she's having fun as well. I'm there to have fun. I want her to have fun. And so if she doesn't want to go at the pace that I want to go at, that's cool. We can just talk about it and figure out what pace we want to go at, what we want to try, what we're happy doing. But yeah, I have some friends that have traveled. Cam is a really good person to ask. But I have some friends that have traveled a lot, and they all say the same thing. They're like, no, I act exactly the same way as I would in the West. I just understand that they might not be ready to go or comfortable going at the same pace I normally would go at. But I still initiate the same way. And then when they say, well, can we slow down a bit? I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I'll go as slow as you need. So I feel like the initial part is exactly the same. But then what happens afterwards, you just kind of go with the flow of whatever you're both comfortable with. Yeah, Irrelevant says, if you're in the foreign country, read up a bit on the local culture. Yeah. Throw that in there too. I didn't mention that. So if you're in a country, like if you go to fucking, I don't know, some Arab country, maybe don't try and make out with a girl in public or something. Like I have dated a couple of Arab girls and they were very happy to hold my hand, like even on the first date and stuff, but they didn't want to kiss. Like I even said, like, I want to kiss you right now. And she was like, no, not in public. Like, what do you mean here? Like, we can't do that. And I've had some Vietnamese girls say the same thing. They're like, no, we are not allowed to kiss. Like nobody kisses in public in my culture. And so I'm like, oh, what if we go back to my place? Okay, we can do that. So yeah, you can figure out the local culture a little bit more. As Irrelevant goes on to say, though, if they're just foreign, like they're in your country, just treat them like any other girl. Like, yeah, like, and obviously adding in the caveat of like whatever they're comfortable with. Stega Squirtle says, I racked up over 50k USD in debt. I feel it weighing down on me constantly. Hey, welcome to the club. I felt like that for the last like 2 years. Yeah, I absolutely know how that feels. Sending you big hugs and love and all of that shit. As Irrelevant goes on to say, and by the way, Irrelevant, you're banging out some killer questions here, or killer answers here. As Irrelevant says, do you have some sort of payment plan or, something that you can do to start chipping away at that? And reach out for help if you need it. Like, not, I don't mean to me, although I can help you if you want to, but I mean like reach out to someone that works at a bank or like a financial advisor or something. There are like like people who specifically specialize in this. So like go and see one of them. You pay them a bit of money, but like they're not usually expensive, and they will set you up with like payment plans and stuff like that, like an accountant. I have an accountant, and that's who's like sorting out my tax debt. And my accountant is fucking amazing. Like they literally call the government for me and say like, hey, I need you to organize some sort of payment plan for my client. And the government, like in my country, there are a lot of conditions on the payment plan that we're allowed to have. And I tried to set up a payment plan myself to pay off my tax debt. And the government just said no to it. I tried like 4 times, and each time they just said no, 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 no. And I got my accountant to do it. Within 2 days, it's like, yep, it's all set up now. And I was like, why the fuck could you do that? And he's like, because I know how to talk to the government. I just don't take no for an answer. I'm a stubborn motherfucker. That's why you're paying me. I'm the accountant. So yeah, I would talk to some sort of person that can make you feel better about it to get some sort of plan. And if you need to take a second job to pay it off, if you need to, I don't know if you're building your own business. Like I don't know where this debt has come from, but like Oh, okay. You go on to say, I'm working on getting a better paying job and a side job so I can pay. Yeah, fucking sweet. That's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, just slowly like start chipping away. And as Irrelevant said to you, same thing I said, like financial advice can be worth it. All right. Borealis goes on to say, because what was your question? Oh, your question was about starting and stopping with your dating efforts. So you go on to say, I mean, any thoughts on how to know if I just don't care that much about dating, or if I need to force myself to persist in taking whatever dates I can until I improve the level of women I can attract? I know you can't know what's going on in my head, but I wonder if you have any methods of self-inquiry I can use to understand. Yeah. Okay, so I would take a little bit of time to chill, honestly. Um, like go for a walk in a park, take a couple of days or whatever you need to like actually be still with your own thoughts and what you want and look at the bigger picture. Like, what do I actually want? What is all this leading to? Because you're not just like going on dates so that you can go on dates. You're doing it for a reason. And so one of the things I ask all of my coaching clients when they sign up for the program is I say, what do you actually want? And sometimes they'll say, I want to have sex with 10 women in the next 12 weeks. And I go, yeah. I don't give a fuck. Like, why do you want to do that? What do you actually want? That's just the shallow surface reason. What are you actually here for? Like, what do you want? And they'll say, well, I want to do that so I can prove to myself that I'm lovable. I want to have more dating options because I eventually want marriage and kids and to settle down and be the best husband that I can be and raise my kids. And I'm like, okay, that's what you want. And the dating is just working into that. So I would take some time to ask you what you actually want and then see if this method that you're going about things, like see if this Tinder and all of this leads into that. And if you're not sure what you want, that's okay too. I have a couple of podcasts. Let me see if I can find them for you. I have a couple of podcasts on like how to find your purpose, essentially. And I'm probably going to do some sort of video course or book on this in the future, like how to find your purpose when you really don't know. Actually, I have a couple of these, don't I? Yeah, I have a couple of like podcasts and stuff on how to find your purpose. Can I put links in the chat? That's the question. I put a link in the chat there for you. Go and listen to that. That's like how to find your purpose. You can also just search on Spotify on my podcast for like purpose. It's not on YouTube, it's on my Spotify. Those two are separate. I have like different content on both of them. Search for the word purpose on my channel. My channel is just Kill You're in a Loser, the same as YouTube. So see if that helps. But I would come up with some of the deeper reasons, and then that will answer the question of like, do I actually want to do dating? Because the fact that you keep starting and stopping, you know, maybe it means that you don't actually care about this thing, or maybe you're just, you know, feeling a little frustrated with your lack of results. If it's that, then the answer is like, do more self-improvement. Maybe you just don't care about Tinder and you want to go outside and talk to some women. There's that too. Maybe you don't even care that much about dating right now. Maybe you just want to go and work on your social life. There's that. But, you know, you say the question of like, should I just force myself? It's at least my experience that I can't really force myself to do something I don't want to do. And I can't really force my clients. And believe me, I've tried for years. And it's only over the last like 2 years that I've stopped forcing anyone. Because it's like, I can't, what am I going to just force you every single day? What do I stand there screaming at you every day? Like, come on, do this, do this, do this. If you really don't want to do it, then you won't do it. So figure out the deeper reasons and what this is actually leading to. And then that can help you. Like, let's say you do this and you go, look, do you know what? I really just want a wife and kids. Like, that's what I want. And I think part of me getting there is going to be going on some Tinder dates, getting some experience, meeting some women. Maybe I go and cold approach some women as well, talk to women outside. And maybe if I build all of that, that will lead to the marriage and kids. Okay, I think I actually want to go on Tinder now because I know what it's leading to. I know that this is just a couple of steps or the start of the journey. This is part of the journey to getting to that big thing that I really want. And the excitement of reaching that big goal is what will help motivate you and make you want to go on dates or go on Tinder. So yeah, anytime you feel yourself resisting for a long time, I like to take a step back and actually say, do I even want this thing? Like, is this what I want? Or like, what do I actually want? And does this fit into that? Another thing is maybe the actions that you're taking right now just feel a little scary. And so that's why you keep, you know, resisting. Like you're doing it for a little bit, you push hard, and then you don't want to go and do it again. You feel some lack of motivation. Maybe it's really hard for you. Like maybe right now it takes all the effort in the world for you to go on a date and it's really fucking difficult. It takes all the willpower in the world and then you feel burnt out and you take a break. And that's okay. I feel like that sometimes. I feel like that with my content. I will go on a big push. I just did a big push over the last like month or so where I did a ton of content. I did like 4 pieces of content every single day across YouTube, my articles, Spotify, and emails and stuff like that. I did a big push, signed up like 8 people to the coaching program, and now I'm fucking exhausted. And I don't feel like doing as much content. I'm still doing the video course and working on that, but I've sort of taken a mini break from content. This right now here today is sort of an exception to that, but that's kind of how it goes sometimes. Like we push ourselves like crazy. It feels really difficult. And then we get a little burnt out and we take a break. If that is the process that you're going through, that's okay. You can just find ways to make dating a little bit easier so you get less burnt out. Find ways to make it more fun. On dates, talk about the things you want to talk about. Take some of that pressure to perform off of yourself. Just go on a date and say, if I suck, that's okay. Like take some smaller baby steps so it doesn't feel like this big deal. And do the same with your self-improvement in general. So I hope some of that helps. Again, without like knowing what's in your head, which you even said, Andy, I know you don't know what's in my head, but yeah, see if any of that stuff helps. Amog goes on to say, thank you for that, Andy. Your help is appreciated and I love your advice. Also, how do you consistently push your comfort zone? Give yourself permission to suck, my friend. You don't have to consistently push your comfort zone. Just do it as much as you can. And if sometimes you can't do it, that's okay. Like you're just trying to think of it like this. You're just trying to be a little bit better at pushing your comfort zone over time. But you don't have to always do it. You don't even have to be consistent. I'm not very consistent. Like with a lot of things, with most things, I'm not very consistent. I try to be, but I'm really just focused on trying to be a little bit more consistent over time. And if I'm not consistent or I'm not perfect, that's okay. Like you don't have to be 100% consistent. Just try and be as consistent as you can and try and improve at that consistency over time. You're doing a good job, in other words, but just try and do a tiny bit of a better job over time. You go on to say, sometimes I feel like college girls are immature. Well, yeah, they're 18. But to be fair, you said you're 18 too, so you're immature. We're all kind of immature at 18. They would laugh at me or maybe wouldn't appreciate a direct approach. Yeah, but you don't know, remember? You say, I feel like they are immature and they'd laugh at me or they wouldn't appreciate me directly approaching them. Admit that you're the newbie, like you know nothing. Like you literally are not the expert on this thing. And so it doesn't matter what you feel or what you think. Like you don't know. Humble yourself enough to say, I really don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I'm just going to trust in the person that does know, like me or some of the people that are replying to you. Like, who do you think knows whether or not all the college girls are going to laugh at you? You, who've never done it, or me, who has done it and has coached like hundreds of people and has lots of friends that have done it. And for my favorite type of girls are college girls, by the way. I walked around a college campus for most of my cold approaches, like literally directly on campus. When I didn't go to the university, I didn't go to that college, and I would just cold approach girls there. And I talked to 1,500 girls during the approach anxiety program that I did as well, like on top of that. Girls are not going to laugh at you. And even if one does laugh at you, cool, she laughed at you. That's okay. Like nothing bad happens. So you are only going to feel better about this if you actually do it. Nothing I tell you will make you feel better, but you actually doing it will make you feel a little bit better. You need to go and get the evidence that they won't laugh at you. Right now, we're just talking theory. And I try not to talk too much theory because it doesn't mean anything. You sit there and say, I feel like they're going to laugh at me. I sit here and say, no, they're not. But none of that matters until you go and test it out. So go and get some evidence. Go and try it. Doc Taco says, how do you deal with other friends not being supportive of self-improvement? Well, I generally speaking wouldn't be friends with people like that. Like at all. That's my answer. I did an article called Surround Yourself with Positive People. And a big part of this article, I specifically talk about like you can cut negative people out of your life, like people that aren't bringing more good than bad into your life. I specifically, like if they're not a net positive benefit to my life, I specifically don't spend time with them. Same with dating, same with everything. And you don't necessarily have to cut them out. You can do that if you want to, but you can just have like a more casual friendship. So if you have some friends that whenever you talk about your goals, they just shit all over your goals and they sort of take the wind out of your sails, so to speak, like they make you less excited to do your goals, just don't ever talk about your goals with them. Just hang out and watch Netflix or play video games or whatever it is that you're doing with them, and just make it a super casual friendship. Kind of like, imagine if you had a girl, I'm assuming you're a guy. Imagine if you had a girl, or just let's say if you had a person that you were sleeping with, but they didn't ever want to talk to you much. The conversation was really boring. And every time you tried to like go on a road trip or something with them, they just didn't want to do it. All they wanted to do was have sex. You could just say like, okay, this is just going to be like my friends with benefit, not even friends part. This is just going to be my booty call and we'll just fuck each other. And the sex can be amazing and we'll just almost like compartmentalize it and it's just sex. I'm going to put a little label on it and pigeonhole it into this is just sex and I'm going to see that person just for sex. And if I'm ever not happy with that, that's fine. I can leave. If they're ever not happy with that, that's fine. They can leave. But I won't put expectations on them that they have to be deeper or something like that. So right now, you might be putting some expectations on these friends of yours where you're expecting that they will be supportive of your self-improvement. But without that expectation, maybe you would just be free to hang out with them and whatever happens, happens, Hey, it's just a casual friendship where we just don't talk about self-improvement. That's fine. But at the end of the day, if you want to not even be friends with them, you can give yourself permission to do that. I personally am not friends with anyone that's not into self-improvement. I am not friends with anyone that's not honest. I'm not friends with anyone that isn't open-minded and non-judgmental. I'm not friends with anyone that isn't sex positive. I'm not friends with anyone that... Really, I'm not friends with anyone that isn't like hyper ambitious as well at this time in my life, just because I just have a limited amount of free time. And I like to date and be friends with people that are very, 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 very ambitious and very supportive. But you can be friends with whoever you want to be. But I like to ask myself that question of like, are they a net positive on my life? Like, are they adding more to my life than they're taking away? And if the answer is ever no, then I personally don't spend time with them. And nothing against them, by the way. This isn't about judging or like, they're not ambitious, they're a piece of shit. No. It's just, I don't want to spend time with them. I love them. I hope they have a beautiful life, but I'm just not interested in spending time with them. Doc Taco says, what's been one of the most surprising things your clients have done? Maybe Thea, who was the woman who was depressed and suicidal, who, in just like a couple of sessions, I say a couple of sessions, we would have a session like once a month. So she did a lot of work on her own. So over a couple of months, going from like super depressed to like eventually getting married and stuff like that was probably one of the most surprising things. So I'm talking about this interview here. You can just search on my channel for She Overcame Depression. Here's how. Let me try and find a nice little picture of her. She got such a beautiful smile. I want to see if I can find it. And now every time I click is going to be a frown, isn't it? She has like a really big, there you go, there's a smile. Look at that happy little cute smile. She's such a sweetheart. She's genuinely like such a lovely person. And when she first came to see me, she was like really down on herself and very suicidal and convinced that she was broken and unlovable and unfixable and all of that. So that's probably the most like coolest one, I guess. What else? I guess we can go through the playlist of like all the other coaching client interviews. People have done really cool shit that I honestly don't expect. Like the glamorous stuff. One of my coaching clients, Renee, who had like a threesome in his like second week of coaching. That was pretty surprising. And then went on to have a bunch of sex and all of that. That was surprising. I guess it's not surprising. I'm not surprised by this stuff anymore. I'm more just like in love with how much these people, like how much effort and care they put into themselves and everyone around them. I'm grateful for them. So it's not so much surprising. It's more like, like cool shit. Okay. This one, I was surprised at this one. So this is like Theo, and he lost his virginity and had an orgy. I didn't expect that. This next guy as well, he was someone that was like super just like chill, just like a total fucking like just a good dude. And like he had sex within 5 minutes of meeting a woman. And when he told us about it in the thing, And then he did it again too, shortly after coaching. He did it in like 10 minutes. When he told us in the group, I was like, get out of here. Like, what do you mean you had to, how does that even happen? How did you do that? And he's like, dude, I just met this girl and we just vibed. And I don't know, I said to her, like, I'm really into you. And she was like, I'm really into you. And like, I was like, can I kiss you? And she was like, yes. And then I was like, do you want to come back to my apartment? And she was like, yes. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, so that was surprising. I don't know. I'm pretty, we have some like amazing people that come through the program, to be honest. Like, I feel like everyone's like a surprise. Cam is a big transformation as well. So I guess you can say that's surprising. Like, when I first met Cam, because I coached him, when I first coached him, like, oh my God, like, he was really down on himself. He was so unbelievably sad. He was like heartbroken from a girl that had like, he'd wanted to, he was in love with her and they dated before and she, just wanted to be friends and all of that. And so he went from that. He was like really sad too, like really, really, really down on that. He went from that to like where he is today. Like, he's, basically my business partner and he's a coach in my coaching program. That's pretty insane for a transformation. Like, that's fucking insane. I didn't predict any of that. And Cam does, a lot of you won't see it because it's like behind the scenes. And I try and shout him out and give thank yous. And I tell him I'm grateful for him basically every day. But he has done a hell of a lot for not just my coaching, but the channel in general. Like, just so much shit. Cam honestly like has just gone above and beyond. Like, I had no intention of like paying him, like making him a business partner, but he has just done so much over the years, which I've never asked for. He's just volunteered and shown initiative and said, I want to help you for nothing. He's expected nothing in return. And so we got to a point where I was like, I need to just start paying this motherfucker because like he's doing insane shit. So I just started paying him and yeah, now he's here. So Cam is just, that's probably the biggest transformation. Along with that, honestly, Ed's transformation as well. So Ed was a virgin. He was 31. He had extreme erectile dysfunction and performance anxiety, like extreme. It took him like, I don't know, 5 women. And he'd tried many times before that in the past, but I think he had like 5 women in bed multiple times with some of those girls, and he still couldn't even get like even 10% hard. It took him a long time to work through that. We had to try a lot of different things, and a lot of it was psychological. So he's gone from that to, now he's got abs and he's looks like a fucking male model and he does photo shoots with women and he's a coach in my coaching program as well. So if any of you sign up, you get access to him, to me, to Ed, to Cam and to Taylor as well. So Ed has come a long way. Taylor as well, one of the coaches in the program, but Taylor already was on a pretty good journey. So it didn't feel like some of my clients, it doesn't feel like I have to do a whole lot. It's like they're already on the path and I just have to tell them like, you're going to make it, keep going. There's lots of clients like that. Okay, this client, he was a virgin and he approached like 100 women in a single week. He just went crazy on that shit. He was such a fucking good guy. I liked him so much. I should say I like him so much because I still talk to some of these people from time to time in the Discord. We have like a private members only like accountability group, I guess you could call it, which you get access to for life. So I still talk to some of these people from time to time. Dimitri was a big one as well. This guy here, Dimitri, like he made some insane changes and transformations. This Taylor. Laz was a big one. He was kind of surprising as well. He doubled his income in like a month or two. Like he did a hell of a lot. Yeah, okay, this guy did a hell of a lot too. He moved across the entire country to prioritize his sex life. He was like, I've always had this dream of like going to Los Angeles and prioritizing my sex life, but I know it's silly and I have Asian parents and they'd never let me do it. And, I know it's silly. And I was like, bro, if it's silly, if it's your dream, it's not silly. Like, do you want this? And he's like, I do, but I can't have it. And we were just like, bro, like, just do it, man. And he fucking did it. Like, absolute legend of a human being. He's still kicking ass as well. Yeah. He then came on later. So same guy here. He came on later to do like a follow-up interview where he had like a threesome from Cold Approach. Like he just approached 2 women and was like, you're both attractive. And they ended up having a threesome. Ravi has changed like so much. Oh my God. Like you guys wouldn't even recognize Ravi from like 3 years ago. He's like the moderator on our forums and he's done so much. That's Taylor again. Taylor talking about his first threesome. Yeah, this guy Marcus surprised me as well. With how quickly he made $500, like within like 30 days of trying. Avi surprised me as well. I just did this interview, so that's there. So yeah, pretty much. Honestly, I know I just like literally went through every single coaching client. You're like, who do you think has been surprising? It's like all of them. Matthias goes on to say, congratulations on the 7,000 subs. Hey, congratulations to all of you. I don't feel like I did anything, honestly. Like I just did some videos and you all kept showing up. So yeah, I'm glad you're all here. Oh shit, the questions are coming in. I'm falling behind. All right, let's fucking speed run this. Peter says, yo, Andy, all the love to you. Peter, is that Peter from my coaching program? Peter from the Discord? If so, hello, Peter. Love to you too, brother. Doc Taco, you gave a little more follow-up advice. So you asked the question of like, what about my friends who don't support my self-improvement? You said they keep giving pushback every time you try new stuff and they're not supportive and they say I'm trying too hard. Yeah, that's just them projecting their own insecurities on you. You know, like it's not that you're trying too hard. It's that you're holding up, or they see it as you holding up a mirror to them. And so when we don't really like ourselves or when we're not truly happy with ourselves, if somebody else tries really hard to improve themselves, it can make us feel a little insecure or not good enough ourselves. It's almost like the other person is holding up a mirror to us and we have to look in the mirror and go, fuck, you know, this guy is like improving his looks and putting himself out there and I'm not doing anything. Like, fuck, he makes me uncomfortable. So I should drag him down and tell him to stop trying so hard because he's making me uncomfortable. So yeah, as Irrelevant said to you, personally, I would not be friends with someone like that, but you do whatever you want and we'll support you in that. But yeah, I don't have anyone like that in my life and I wouldn't, not in a billion years. I don't have anyone like that on my YouTube channel. You will notice that all of the comments on YouTube are incredibly positive. And by the way, there are lots of comments that are negative. I just block that person or mute them so they never show up on our channel. Like I'm nothing against them. I love them to bits and I understand they're just believing their own stories and all of that kind of shit. But that isn't the community that I'm here to build. Like we're here for positive vibes and to encourage each other, and whatever goals someone has, that's sacred to me. And I won't let someone talk somebody else out of their goals. And unless the goal is like, I want to hurt someone, fine. But like, as long as your goals are helping you and you're contributing to the positivity in the world, then yeah, they're beautiful goals. So I block anyone that's like talking other people out of their goals. And I wouldn't have anyone like that in my life, but you do whatever you want to do. Peter, you go on to say, I still have a hard time to relax sometimes. Yeah, welcome to the club, motherfucker. I do too sometimes. And especially with spending money for myself since it feels like wasting. Oh, Imogen struggles with that same thing. Yep, Imogen does not like to spend money on herself. She will basically take a month before she will buy herself a dress that she might have wanted for like 6 months. She'll take like a month to work up the courage. And usually she'll say to me, can we talk about this? Like, you know, I want to buy this dress, but it's $50 and that's such a waste and blah, 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 and all of this. And I'll be like, honey, I'm going to buy the dress for you to make it easier. So if you're the Peter that I think you are, if you're the Peter from my coaching program, dude, just get your girlfriend to buy it for you. Like literally just be like, I'm really struggling to spend this money on myself. And then just tell her that anytime you say that, you want her to just buy the fucking thing for you. That's kind of been the solution for Imogen and I. And anyone else listening, if you have this same thing, just tell one or two of your friends. Just be like, there's some shit that I want to spend money on for myself, but I feel like it's wasting. Can you just like buy it for me and then I'll send you the money? Or another thing you can do is basically put it in your, like, how do I want to phrase this? Okay, so here's an example. Something that I struggle to spend money on myself because I worry that it's wasting is a massage. I really like to get a massage once a month. For me, it's basically a spiritual experience. Like I'm able to just go to some like fucking higher plane of existence or something and like all of my worries melt away and I just lay there for like an hour and it's like the most peaceful, beautiful time because I can just think with no distraction, no phone, no content, no YouTube, no nothing. I can just think and actually relax while I'm getting a massage. But I struggle to spend money on it sometimes because I'm like, oh, we got the big tax debt. I should be paying money on that. I should be spending money on that. Like I shouldn't be wasting it on a massage. And so what I've done is I put it in my calendar once a month. A notification comes up that says, okay, motherfucker, it's time for your massage. And when that notification pops up, I've trained myself that I have to do it, no matter how I feel. Like, I have to fucking do that massage. And if I am worried about wasting money, then I can buy a really cheap massage. That's fine. But like, I tell myself I have to do it. And it's not that I have to do it. I want to do it. But like, I've trained myself to just do it without really thinking. So yeah, maybe something like that. But another option here is give yourself permission to suck with this and just try taking some baby steps. Like, if you struggle to spend money, what if you try spending $1 on yourself? Like, get really good at being able to spend $1 on yourself, maybe like once a week or something. And then go, okay, I can do this. Can I get really good at spending $2 on myself once a week? And just like slowly increase, up from that. On top of that, remember that like you don't have to spend money on yourself if it feels like wasting. Like, you're allowed to not spend money on yourself. You can do things for yourself that don't require money. That's an option too. Alex Leggett says, I just wanted to thank you for all the incredible content. I'm more of a dominant guy in the bedroom, and listening to you helped me make sense of things I couldn't quite put words to before. Fucking awesome. Hell yeah. Explore that dominant side, brother. Have fun with it. Yeah, irrelevant. Amazing advice again. Says, with the money question of spending money, you can kind of just like plan it in advance and give yourself like deadlines. I want to buy a new keyboard, so I'm going to buy it for my birthday. I do that a lot too. That's a really good suggestion, especially when Imogen and I were really struggling with money, like legitimately struggling, which is probably like most of the last like 3 years up until recently. I would like buy stuff for myself for a special occasion. And not necessarily a time. Like I did that too. Like, it's my birthday coming up, so I'm going to buy this keyboard, or it's Christmas, so I'm going to buy this. But I would also do it if I hit a certain milestone. So I would say, okay, I'm going to really push and do a ton of content. And when 3 more people sign up for coaching, then I'm allowed to buy a new camera or this microphone, like almost everything that you see in this room. I know you can't really see much, but there's a lot of shit in this room. There's lights and microphones. Like, look, I got 2 microphones, so I can be both at the same time. One for Imogen, one for me. Everything in this room, I budgeted. I would tell myself I can buy that new piece of equipment. I can buy that new microphone. I can buy the new light that I have there. I can buy the background, the red background. And there's some trees. I don't know if you can see them, but there's a couple of trees. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's some trees in the background and shit like that. I would tell myself I'm allowed to buy those things once I get 1 more coaching client, or when I make another $5,000, or when I make $200 more. Like, I just set little milestones like that. And they don't have to be money based. Like, you could say, okay, Imogen has done this a lot. When I lose another 0.5 kilogram or like 1 kilogram, then I will buy this thing as a nice little reward. Or, when I bust my ass really hard with my business for the next like month, then I will buy this thing as a nice little fun reward. As Irrelevant said, like, it can be a fun thing. Like, it's like you're budgeting. It's like you get excited about the thing. Borealis says, are you doing one-time coaching calls at the moment? Yeah, they're $200. Yeah. There's a link in the description. It should be in the description for this as well. If it isn't, just go on any other video. And yeah, there's like a link in every single video. It says like $200 coaching calls. Yeah, Irrelevant said, yeah, they're $200, yes. Yeah, I'll probably keep doing them for a little while. I'll see. I kind of play it by ear. I've got a cool, like when you book it in, there's a cool website that you go through to book it in, like the software or the website you use to book it in, where I can limit it. So I can say like only 4 of those coaching calls a week. So as long as, I'm only doing like 3 or 4 of them a week, so that I have lots of free time for content and for video courses and the shit that I want to do, then yeah, I'm happy to keep doing them for a while. I think at some point I'll stop doing them for sure. At some point I won't do coaching at all. Like, that is the long-term mission, but yeah, I'm doing them at the moment for sure. Hey, Cam is here. Radical. Hello, Radical. Irrelevant. When on keto, sugar is worse than Coke. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I felt that too. Yeah. Ped says, Andy, you're a legend. How were you all of a sudden financially comfortable? Ha! Imogen and Cam and I are laughing very hard at that question. I am not financially comfortable. I am not even remotely financially comfortable. Now that doesn't mean I'm suffering. That doesn't mean that I'm sitting there stressing, although I was for a long time, a lot of sleepless nights. So that's your answer to your question. It's funny because it's kind of like Alex Hermosi, who's like a businessman and an entrepreneur that I follow, and Cam, Radical follows him as well. Alex Hermosi says, I am the world's slowest overnight success story. Everybody says, oh my God, Alex, you've blown up, because he's blown up this year. He's got like millions of subscribers on his YouTube and shit like that. And he's absolutely blown up. And everyone says to him, how did you become an overnight success story? Which is kind of what your question here is. Like, how were you all of a sudden financially comfortable? And in Alex Hermosi's case, it's like he's been doing content for like 7 fucking years. And I would say the same thing. It's like I've had 4 years of, a lot of content. At this point, I've done 1,500 pieces of content. So, yeah, it's definitely not like all of a sudden. But it's kind of, and that's kind of the answer. It's like, just give a lot of value. If you want to know how to make a lot of money, if that's something that's important to you, which it isn't really to me, but if it is, the answer is just give a lot of value. Money is literally just value. I actually have, if any of you are starting a business, let me find you the 2 videos on this. I've done a couple of videos on this. That one, actually, I've done a couple of videos. I've done 3 videos on this. Where's the other one? I have like a business starter guide. Where is it? When you have a YouTube channel, you come to realize how terrible the YouTube search is. Like, it doesn't, when you search for something, it doesn't necessarily show everything with that keyword, even on your own channel. It kind of just shows whatever it feels like it wants to show. So sometimes it's really hard for me to find my own fucking content. Okay, here you go. Actually, I've done lots of videos on this topic. I've done more than I thought. So probably the first one to start with is this. It's called How to Grow Your Audience and Build a Community. And it says Content Creation Guide, but you can kind of ignore that. Like, pretty much everything in this video is about like how to build any type of business. So you can see like the topics that I talk about, like give value. I talk a little bit about my own coaching and my coaching page. I talk about just doing a lot of content, which is really just giving a lot of value to people. I've talked about doing a 365-day project, which is just work on your business every single day. Yeah, I've talked about like a lot of that kind of stuff. Another video, I was starting to lose my voice, so we might finish up soon. I usually lose my voice when we do these. This one as well, this video, My Ultimate Guide to Starting a Business. I would definitely check that video out. And what are the chapters on this one? So this is basically like how to start a business and how to make money, really. Give yourself permission to suck, do a lot of content. And if you're not doing a content-based business, it would just be like offer a lot of value or help a lot of people. Like give as much as you can to your clients or your customers or whoever it is that you're, getting money from. Yeah, focus on giving value. Be vulnerable and honest. That applies to pretty much every business. Screening, that applies to every business as well. Like, don't waste time on the customers who only give you like 1% of your income, but give you like 80% of the headaches. Like, screen them out, give value. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Be consistent. Like, wait, patience. That's basically patience. A lot of people start a business and then in the first month, they're like, why am I not rich? And it's like, kiddo, you just started. Come back after 10 years if you're not rich. And you will be rich on any business after 10 years. This video as well, should I make you pay for my content? I answer your question that you've basically asked in the chat, which is like, would I make more money if I charged more for my content? Like why do I talk about my rationale of like, why do I give away as much as I give away for free? So that might answer your question even more. And then this one as well, if any of you are interested in starting a business, like Cam and I talked about, like how to make your first $100. In my coaching program as well, I have a whole list of videos on, like there's a whole section in the coaching program of like training material, I guess is what I would say, like video courses and ebooks, and all the video courses and ebooks I'm ever going to do, they're all free in the coaching program. And we've also released a whole lot of videos and podcasts only for people in the coaching program. And there's one in there about like how to make your first $500 and all of that. So Yeah, as Irrelevant said to you, it's the formula that always works. Just share a fuck ton of content or like give a lot of value and then just say, would you like to give me some money for some even more advanced shit? And people will be like, oh my God, yeah. Like, so yeah. Irrelevant, you said, did you ever do that podcast with your trainer? I remember you mentioning it. Yeah. So I just made and I understand like you guys and girls aren't always going to see like everything I do. I made a community post about it on YouTube. And obviously, again, like you're not going to see everything that I post. Let me find it for you here. You can look through my Spotify playlist. So this thing here. So just search for Procast by Josh on Spotify. And then, where am I? I'm famous here somewhere. There we go. Number 4. I'm number 4. You can just listen to that. It's actually an amazing episode. He did a fucking fantastic job. It was actually we talked about some really deep topics. Like any of you who like my channel, you will like this podcast. It could have been on my channel. It was the exact same sort of content that I have on my channel. So, I can probably just give you guys the link. I put the link, podcast with my trainer. I'll put it in the chat. I'm assuming you guys can click links in the chat. Yeah, you can. Ped says, what's your long-term goal? That's a big question, my friend. Do you just want to grow Kill Your Loser significantly? No, not really. I have a lot of friends in game, but all the ones who do decently well all follow you low. It's a shame you're still so small. Is that true? Is it a shame I'm still so small? I don't believe that it is. I like where I'm at. So in terms of long-term goal, just be in the moment, help as many people as I possibly can, and humble myself. So no, I don't have big goals of like growing big. That doesn't line up with my goal of like happiness and letting go of my ego. That just, yeah, this is like a more advanced topic, and I'm trying to give you the bite-sized answer. If you're a coaching client of mine, like if you're in the coaching program, you would know my answer to this question because I talk about this in the coaching program a lot and like on coaching calls and stuff. But the short answer is no, I don't have plans to grow it significantly because it will just grow itself. We're at 7,000 subscribers and I didn't do anything to do that. At the start of the year, we were at like 3,000 subscribers. We've more than doubled. Actually, like 4 months ago, we were at 3,000 subscribers. So in the last 4 months, we have more than doubled. I didn't do anything. I just had a couple of videos that blew up and went viral. Like one of them's got like 300,000 views. I didn't do that on purpose. I did the video, sure, but like I didn't want it to blow up. So the channel's just going to blow itself up. Like that's really not the mission. Even money is not my mission. Like, yes, I want to pay off the tax debt, of course, and that is a goal for sure. But like my main goal is to just be present and be happy and help whoever's there in the moment in front of me at that moment in time. Like, yeah, whoever needs me, basically. Okay, if you want to get if you want to get a taste of my mindset, like a mindset that's really helping me with this shit, like to answer your question of what is my long-term goal, if you read any of Mother Teresa's books, they're really good books, by the way. I've read all of them, and the biographies about her that she didn't write. Read any of her books, and you'll get an insight into what my mindset is like. So she talked a lot about serving people, and she talked a lot about, I just want to humbly serve whoever is in front of me right now in that moment in time. Whoever needs me, I'm going to serve that person, and I won't worry about money. Money's not my business. It's got nothing to do with me. I won't worry about like fame or fortune or any of that. I'm just going to help the person in front of me. And that's my mindset, because that's the thing that brings me the most joy. Making money, like, yeah, like money is cool as fuck. I want money, of course, but that's going to happen anyway, regardless of what I do. Like, not regardless of what I do, but like the money's going to happen. The subscribers are going to keep coming in. Like, why would that stop? It might stop at some point, but like, I don't think we're anywhere near saturation. And so I don't need to worry about that shit. I just worry about the thing that I can control, which is the person that's right in front of me. And it doesn't really bring me a lot of joy to have more subscribers. It's cool. It's interesting. It's like fun. I like seeing 7K subscribers. That's cool. When we get to 10,000, I might cry with happiness because being a YouTuber is something that I always dreamed about, and like 10,000 seems like an insane number to me. We're probably going to get there in the next 3 months, regardless of what I do. So it's not super my mission right now. The mission is more like, how do I help more people? How do I just, not even more people, how do I help whoever's in front of me right now at this moment in time? And that's all I've tried to do, or I've tried to do that as best I can with all of my content. It's like, who needs me right now? I'm going to try and help that person in whatever way they need, like whatever they need from me. I'll try and give that. Irrelevant says, I wish I had more friends that even knew about Andy. Here it's all Torero or Krauser. I know Krauser. Like, I don't know him, but I know that. Who's Torero? I always get curious about all these like names and Torero because I'm so out of the mix. Did you guys know there's a war apparently in fucking Israel? I only just found that out today, and everyone's like, holy shit, like, the war, it's so sad, isn't it? And I was like, what war? What are you talking about? There's like some fucking war going on. So I'm usually quite ignorant intentionally. Who's Torero? I can't find Torero. I don't know what you're talking about. All I can find is some Spanish, like, actually, look what happens when are you sure his name's Torero? Because when I search for Torero, it just comes up bullfighter. Torero is the Spanish word for bullfighter. Are you sure that's his name? I don't know who you're talking about. I do know Krauser. UMP, I do know UMP. Marcus, I've done a couple of live streams with Marcus from UMP. I don't know much about his content, but from the live streams, I liked him. He seemed like quite likable. He's been quite nice to me. I like him a lot. And I feel like I vibe with most of his mindset. He seems to have like a mindset about honesty and being upfront and shit like that. I like him. If you care about who I like, I don't know if you do, I get on pretty well with UMP. I really like Alex from Playing with Fire. I don't always do the same type of content that he does. Like, some of it's a little bit like debates with like people in the black pill and red pill and stuff. But Alex has been so fucking lovely to me over the last 2 years. He's given me so much advice for my own channel. He's just been so like warm and welcoming. He's had me on his channel so many different times. If you don't know who I'm talking about, I'll show you on the screen who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Alex from Playing with Fire and his girlfriend, Natty. She's like so unbelievably nice too. She's like a sweetheart. Imogen likes her as well. Those two girls get on like pretty well. So I'm talking about Playing with Fire. This channel. Yeah, he's such a nice guy. Also, if you guys, I'll tell you a little fucking secret that I have. You notice on the channel, all you can see is 1.5K videos. Notice you can't see his subscriber number. And notice on every video, you can't see the view count. Even on this, you won't be able to see the view count. See how there's no view count there? And there's no number of subscribers on the channel. I have a... Wait, is it going to be able to show you? No, I can't show you on the screen. But I have an extension. It's called Unhook for YouTube. And then I have another one. It's called Hide YouTube Viewers and Ratings. And I specifically hide subscriber count, ratings. I hide the view count. I hide the comments. And I hide the likes. I hide all that shit because I find that I was going through I went through a period where I was just comparing myself to everybody else. And I'd be like on this channel and I'd be like, oh my God, he has like 150,000 subscribers and here's me with just 7,000. And it was like negatively affecting I was comparing myself to it and shit. And I was like, I don't even give a fuck. Like, what does the count matter? I actually don't care about the number. So why am I reading the number? And so I just hid that shit. And that's done wonders. I even hide it on my own channel. Like, I obviously know how many subscribers I have, but I mostly only know because Cam will tell me. Like, Cam told me this morning, he's like, congrats on 7K. And I was like, oh shit, we're at 7K. So I changed the title of this live stream to like 7K special. So he or someone else will tell me how many subscribers I'm on, but I try not to look at that shit because it's not what I care about, but it does negatively affect my peace, I guess. And not in a massive way. It's just like, oh fuck, why does this guy have 40,000 and I only have 7,000? And it's like, bro, calm down. It doesn't matter. Ravi is here. Iron Will. Hello, Ravi. Ped says, it's because most of the guys in game are trying to teach behaviors instead of fixing the root of which those behaviors naturally flow from. Yeah, like maybe to some extent, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And they're doing their best. But it might be a little bit about like treating the symptom rather than the cause. I understand exactly what you mean with that. I think that's why we focus on like honesty and self-improvement. And more than anything, I focus very much on like, what do you want? I will always, you'll notice sometimes when you ask me a question, when you guys ask me a question, I'll say, what do you want? Like, what do you actually want? So I like to get at the heart of what you want, and then we work from there, rather than me telling you what to do or what the right behaviors are. Like, there are no right behaviors. There is no like correct way of doing things. I talked a little bit before about the video course that I'm in the middle of doing right now. That's like almost finished. And there's a big section in there where I specifically talk about like there is no right or wrong. There's just different ways of doing something, and you know, you can kind of take whatever fucking path you want. Here, I'll show it on the screen for a sec. Yeah, this is like part of it. Yeah, I'm basically talking about like, you know, different versions of a story. They're not right or wrong. They're just different tellings of an event. Same thing applies with like when you're working on a goal. There's different methods that'll work. You know, like you could focus on your inner game, or you could focus on your outer game, or you could go and talk to a lot of women, or you could work on your self-improvement, or you could cold approach, or you could go on Tinder. Like all of that shit can work. And at the end of the day, just do whatever you want to do. And if you're not sure what you want to do, just try a bunch of different things and see what they feel like. Radical goes on to say, we like Caleb Jones too, because he's done a lot of content on building non-monogamous relationships. I like Caleb Jones a lot too. He started going down this like hippie spiritual path a little bit. He's still like very much a rational, blunt sort of man, but he started talking a little bit more about love and the universe and shit like that. So I'm digging that lately. But I like Caleb Jones a lot. I've done a couple of podcasts with him, and yeah, he's been unbelievably nice to me too. He was one of the people that I learned a lot from. The four people that I learned the most from at the start in terms of like sex and dating and relationships and some mental health stuff were Chris from Good Looking Loser, Caleb Jones, he was called Black Dragon back then, Mark Manson, who really was my first entry into honesty. Mark Manson gets the credit for that. And Caleb Jones a little bit too. And then the red pill helped me a lot too. And I don't really, I have a lot of love for the red pill. I've moved on from that because I think some of it is based in fear and shame and guilt. And like, you know, you're a beta male. Like that's shame and guilt. It's not really positive. It's not really what we're aiming for. But the red pill did a hell of a lot for me, and I'll always be grateful. Ped goes on to say, I just mean relatively like you're one all these guys need instead of someone like Todd V, who they seem to follow. Yeah, but am I going to bring out I won't. I was going to bring out the map of consciousness. Those of you who know what I'm talking about, you know I like any excuse to bring out the map of consciousness. But basically, here's how I'll say it. It's like saying, okay, so imagine you had a journalist who just hunted for the truth, and they were very honest, and they always showed like both sides of an argument, and they wanted everybody to feel good and feel, you know, just get some like fact-based evidential journalism. At least in today's culture, maybe always, I don't know, but at least right now, that journalist might be, at least at the start, a lot smaller than the news journalist who's all like, hey, here's top 5 reasons why, you know, we're all going to fucking die and why everyone deserves to be sad. And like a hurricane is coming. Oh my God, like you should be scared. The person that sort of appeals to the dopamine, the scary shit, like the person who appeals to that, you get a lot more, it's a lot more clickbaity. We want to click on it. It's a lot more entertaining. And my content definitely isn't super entertaining versus someone like Todd V. And nothing against Todd V's stuff, by the way. I don't know much about him. I haven't really watched his channel, but I've looked at a couple of thumbnails, and they're very clickbaity. They're very like entertaining. And again, that's not good or bad. It just obviously appeals to more people. And because that's not really my goal, then the channel growth might be a little smaller. Like I'm not here really to appeal to lots of people. Some of my videos do. Some of the BDSM videos appeal to lots of people, but at the end of the day, I'm more interested in like hanging out with all you guys and girls and doing my thing and coaching you and trying to help you as much as I can. And you guys help each other, which you do a lot. By the way, shout out to Irrelevant in the chat again. Like motherfucker is like written like 50 responses to people asking for help. So absolute legend. But yeah, that's just the size difference. Ped, you going to say it's crazy because I tried to mimic these behaviors. I guess you're talking about like the pickup artist kind of stuff. I tried to mimic these behaviors, maybe even subconsciously, but I listened to you and I literally just started to have as much fun as possible without worrying about game. Yeah, I've done a lot of articles about that. You can probably just read some of them on my website if you want. Probably the best one is like the theatrical wizards one. This one. Most pickup artists are theatrical wizards who don't actually want to get laid. And nothing against like pickup artists or theatrical wizards, but like most pickup artists are more interested in being pickup artists. Like, where is it? Where's that good saying that my friend said? Here you go. So my friend said this to me. Pickup artists are theatrical wizard whose main goal is to improve their theatrics, not get laid a lot. And that applies to a lot of people, and not all. Like, and to be clear, I'm not saying like pickup artists are bad. Like, no, absolutely not. Like at the end of the day, they're trying to help people. How could that not be an absolutely beautiful thing? But a lot of people get into pickup artists and get into game and all that kind of stuff because they're trying to get good at game rather than because they want to meet someone or have sex or have a connection or any of that. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Like if you enjoy game and you enjoy being a pickup artist and all of that, like fuck yeah, have fun with that. It just wasn't really ever my thing. And I thought I needed to do it. I thought it was the only way I could ever have sex and have relationships and meet women and all of that. But once I actually tried being honest and just like straight up saying, yo, I'm into you. I like you. Do you want to come on a date with me? And then on the date, just being like, yo, I want to kiss you. Do you want to kiss me? Like all the games just kind of disappear. And so again, if you like the games, like fucking do it. Good. I'm a big fan of people doing whatever they want to do, but I used to think that it was mandatory. It really isn't. Like you can do it. It's one way to have sex and build connections and all of that, but you can also just say the thing that you want, and some people will say yes and some will say no. Yeah, Irrelevant goes on to say, radical honesty makes everything so much easier, especially with autism, because you stop trying to emulate what people want and you just say whatever. It works. It turns out that it works just as well, if not better. Yeah, that's a big part of the reason that I like it, because then I don't have to think like what's the right thing to say. She had this reaction. What should I say back in return? She made this face expression. Like, what should I say back in return? You can just be honest and be like, yo, I like you. Do you like me? And then she'll go, yes, I do. And you're like, cool. What do we want to do about that? Should we have sex? Maybe not right now. I'm a little bit nervous. Okay, cool. We can just have sex later. I don't mind. What do you want to do then? Do you want to just hang out for a bit? Yeah, I'd like that. Cool. Easy. It's just like way more chill. Irrelevant. You go on to say, what was the trigger that made you realize that radical honesty is an option? I talk about it in this article. The article, it's you and me, not you versus me. You can probably just read this article, honestly. So, excuse me, this is on my website. It's you and me, not you versus me. I talk about my history, and I talk about it in these two videos here too. So women are on your team. I talk about it a little bit more in that. And then this one, like you're treating dating like a boxing match. Look at that thumbnail. Look at my beautiful face photoshopped on there. Wow, that's amazing. But yeah, in this article, I talked about my history a little bit. Like I talked about how I used to like play games with women. I used to think you had to neg them, which if you don't know what that means, is where you do like a backhanded compliment or an insult. I used to do weird shit. Like I would take hours or days to reply to text because I thought that made me look like super cool and super busy and super interesting. Sometimes I was even kind of mean or like a dickhead, like a douchebag, because I thought that's what I had to do. And yeah, all that resulted in was me ending up with girls who were happy being manipulated, or who were too stupid to know that they were being manipulated, or their self-esteem was so low that they didn't care that they were being manipulated. And yeah, as I said here, any girls who had a little bit of self-respect saw me as like a manipulator, or just saw me as like weird because I was being weird. I was doing all this like weird shit. Like I guess it would have come across as immature maybe. And they just kind of like ran away. Like, and then I was left with all the women that were happy manipulating and playing games. So they'd do that with me. So yeah, this kind of talks more about my story. As for why, do I talk about it in this? Let me see if I do. Like, I can tell you the answer of why. I'm just scrolling through to see if it's in here or if I should bother telling you separately. Oh, and there's a podcast there where I talk about the same thing. I've talked about this concept a lot, haven't I? I've talked about honesty a lot too, obviously. You can just search my website for the word honesty. There's like 20 articles about it. But so to give you an answer, it was happening. So it was being manipulative and being red pill and playing games with people. I did that for a while, and it never really felt good. And even when I would have sex, I would have this thought of like, I just treated her like the enemy, like it was a boxing match. And yeah, I just got laid, but I just stuck my penis in someone that I don't like or that I don't respect. Like I just stuck my penis in the enemy. And that felt weird and like really weird. But I was still so hardcore stuck in the red pill notions of like, it's me versus women, kind of like I'll bring his name up quite a bit because I think it's relevant right now. Maybe like the Andrew Tate style of things where it's like or what's that other one? Like Fresh and Fit. And to be clear, I haven't watched a lot of Andrew Tate or Fresh and Fit, so I could be off the mark with this, but at least from thumbnails and like little bits and pieces that I've watched, I think maybe they get a little caught up in the mindset of like, it's us versus women, like it's men versus women. And lots of women get caught up in that mindset too. And so I had that mindset. And there was this one Chinese girl that I was dating, and I dated her for about a year. And it was super casual, just sexual, but, we'd hang out once a week, maybe twice a week. And she was just this little sweetheart. And her name was Yilin, and she was just this absolute sweetheart. I met her, on the street one day. I just talked to her, and we talked for like 10 minutes, and she was super sweet. And we walked to her apartment, and she's like, "Oh, this is my apartment, by the way." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Can I get your phone number? We can like have a drink sometime. Like I like you." And she's like, "Yeah, I like you too." Like, sure, here's my number. We met up a second time. We made out on the second date. Third date, I think we had sex. And, it's just this beautiful casual relationship. But I still had the mindset of like, it's me versus them. Like I have to play games. I have to like be an alpha male. I can't ever let my guard down. I have to be this like strong, stoic, perfect man. I have to play all these like pickup artist games. I have to always know what the right thing to say is. And I kept that shit up for like a year. And the whole time I was like convinced that she was using me because that's kind of what a lot of like red pill content and that had told me. It had told me like women are always trying to use a man, and so you got to use them as well. You got to use women before they use you. And I spent this entire year trying to figure out how she was using me. Like I was trying to figure out what her angle was. Like what is she trying to get from me? And I was convinced that she was just in a casual relationship with me because she was secretly trying to get me to fall in love with her so that she could get a relationship out of me. Like I thought she was trying to get commitment out of me. And so we had this super casual, super chill, and she was just so chill, this super chill relationship for like a year. The entire time I'm trying to figure out why she's trying to fuck with me, like what she's trying to use me for, and nothing comes up. And she was super chill the entire time. She never asked anything for me. She even remembered my birthday. I don't know how. She remembered my birthday and she bought me a present that was very relevant and like quite special to me. And I was like, okay, this is like really sweet. And like she was always happy to just have casual sex and she wanted no commitment. And a couple of times we did hang out, like we'd go on a road trip together or something, and she didn't ask. She was just happy to be there with me. And sometimes she would even say to me, I like being with you. And I was like, all right, here she is. She's trying to get a relationship out of me, but like, no. And so the whole time for a year, I'm trying to figure out how she's using me. Like, what's her fucking angle? And she goes away for like 3 months. She lived in China. She went back home to China over the holiday break to see her family for 3 months. And I get this postcard out of nowhere. I didn't expect a postcard. And it's from China. It's got a, cute little Chinese building on it, and she's written on the back, she wrote this whole fucking letter basically on a postcard, and I'm reading it and I'm like, okay, here it is. She's going to ask for something. Like, this is it. She's been building up to this. She's going to try and use me now. She's going to be like, I've seen you for a year now. You need to give me a relationship or whatever it is that she's trying to get from me. Maybe she wants my money or, I had this very combative mindset. And the postcard was just, I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful for the time that I've spent with you. I'm really happy to be with you. Thank you for everything. And I'm looking forward to seeing you when I come back. And that was it. And I remember holding this postcard and I was walking up and down this busy street and I was like, I give up. Like, I give up. I give up the red pill shit. Like, I give it up. Like, I'm sick of playing these fucking games. Like, I'm wrong. I'm actually wrong. And that was the moment where I was like, the red pill is wrong. Like, they're actually wrong. I actually found a woman that isn't trying to get anything from me. Like, and I've been trying to get shit from her the entire time. I have been like not trusting. I've been weird and like combative the entire time. And she hasn't asked anything from me. And she's just been unbelievably nice, unbelievably feminine, unbelievably affectionate, just super chill. Like she's asked nothing from me. I give up. I'm letting go of this red pill shit. Like, and that was when I started moving towards honesty. And I had a conversation with her when she came back and I was like, do you just like being with me? Like, are you just like not even trying to get something? And she's like, yeah, I just like being with you. And I was like, but what if we stop seeing each other? And she's like, that's okay. And I was like, so you don't need a relationship or something? She's like, no, I'm just happy to see you. And I just started asking women questions of like honest questions and trying to get or see what their honest answer was. And, you know, I was non-judgmental when I asked those questions and I just saw like, oh wait, women are nice. Like they're just people. So yeah, that's kind of the genesis of my honesty. And then I just found the more honest I could be, the more upfront I could be, beautiful things happened. And that was a process, which I talk about in an article. I'll show it on the screen. There's an article called Honesty is an Ideal That You Work Towards. And maybe I could have shown that first because that actually might have answered your question even more. So you can read this article. Honesty is an ideal you work towards. And I talk about how like honesty is something. That's funny. That's like the topic that we're actually talking about right now. There might be a bit of a gap in the market when it comes to getting lead advice that also focuses on honesty. Anyway, this article, I talk a little bit about how I learned to get honest and the fact that I wasn't always honest at the start, and it can be a habit that you can build. So if you're sort of struggling to be completely honest and upfront, that's okay. Like I really struggled at the start too. I found it really hard to be honest, especially with all the red pill mindsets. It took me a little while. Ped, you go on to say, you can still use clickbait for effective business growth and bring your authentic honesty. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree. I do use like clickbait. I don't use clickbait. The word that Cam and I use is click worthy. We try and make all of our videos click worthy, but not clickbait. So, you know, you'll see the titles and the thumbnails, you know, like a threesome, not seeking validation, embracing self-love. Like that's click-worthy. Like threesomes, like holy shit. You know, 7 lays, built a business, self-love and authenticity. Like that's pretty click-worthy, but it's not clickbait. Like nothing in there is a lie. Everything is like honest. So I try and make thumbnails and like, look at that dirty talk. That's a fucking clickable thumbnail. How to talk dirty. Like, so we do click-worthy stuff. Like that's very clickable. Like bedroom only versus look at the fucking sex shit there. So we do click-worthy. You know, what I want to say to you, that is click-worthy. Like I specifically wrote that so that you would click on it. And what I do is once a week, I go through all my videos that I haven't uploaded yet and Imogen and I look through everything and we rewrite the titles to make them a little bit more click-worthy. So yeah, I definitely do what you're talking about. Make it click-worthy. I just don't like clickbait where you feel like you clicked a video and you're like, wait, I feel like I got scammed here. Like you were supposed to be giving me a guide on blah, blah, blah. And then the video has nothing to do with this. So yeah. Ped, you say, I think you should want to reach more people. It's a core tenet of helping people. You want to reach the largest audience to have maximal impact serving others. Who would you be without that? Like without thinking that other people should do something like that. Like that Andy should want to reach more people. It's a core tenet of helping people. That seems like quite a story. You also sort of go on to say, I'm saying with great power comes great responsibility. There is an epidemic of men suffering romantically right now. Andy's the one who can actually help these people, not Todd V. He has a duty to try and reach a maximal number of people. That sounds like that story is bringing you a little bit of tension. Like, who would you be without that story? That doesn't sound like a peaceful story. And that just isn't really my experience either. You know, with great power comes great responsibility. That just isn't a story that I believe. And you're very welcome to keep that story, but that just isn't my mission. So I think it's beautiful that you know what you want, but what you want for me is not what I want for me. And at the end of the day, we can have a big topic. Maybe we're going a little off tangent here, but there's a really good book I like on this called I Need Your Love, Is That True? Here you go. So this is by Byron Katie, one of my favorite books, one of my favorite people. I Need Your Love, Is That True? Basically, one of the premises of this book is often when we have an idea of what somebody else should do, which is what you're saying here. Like you have an idea of what I, Andy, should do. If that person doesn't want it, do we really want them to? Or would we have to use force to get them to want to? So for instance, if I don't want to reach more people, and I'm happy to reach more people, like it's going to happen anyway, but it's not really like my goal definitely isn't to reach the largest audience and have the maximal impact serving others. Like I'm not Mother Teresa. And she, by the way, and this is a separate point, so maybe I'll make this point separately, but her mission was never to help as many people as possible. If you read her books, which I've read all of them, she's got like 7 of them, her mission was never to get big. Her mission was never to change the world. Her mission was never to help as many people as possible. Her mission was to serve humbly, which, what you've written is the opposite of humble. Like if I was to follow this, that would be the opposite of being humble. Her mission was to serve humbly the person that was right in front of her in that moment in time, and to just show up wherever she was needed for whoever needed her. She very much resisted the spotlight. People wanted her, like the United Nations wanted her to go and speak in all these seminars, and she didn't want to. In fact, she wrote to her superiors in the church and said, I don't want to go to these. Please don't make me go to these. But if you tell me that I have to go to these, I trust you and I trust in God, and I will do what you tell me to do. I will go if you tell me to, but please, I beg of you, I don't want to go. And she wrote several letters over several years saying, please don't make me do this. But if you do make me do this, I will do as you have commanded, because I believe you are my path to God, but I don't want to. And so she very much had a mission of humility. So point that I'm sort of in a roundabout way getting to here is, if you have a story that Andy or anyone else really should do what you want them to do or what you think they should do, there's several things you're sort of saying there. First of all, you're saying that your opinion or your rule book is correct, but you're not the one that lives my life. It would be like if I told you, I don't know, let's pick something random. If I said if I said to you, hey, if you want to help more people, why don't you fucking do it? Like you should do it. You should start a business. You should be a coach. You should do the thing that you're telling me to do. But if you then said, but I don't want to, I could sit there and say, yeah, but you should. Your answer to that would be, but I don't want to. That's just not what I want. And so if I'm to try and get you to do it, I would then have to use force on you. I would have to guilt trip you, which is sort of, I don't think you've meant to do that, but like you have sort of like, again, you haven't meant to, but that's kind of what we have to go to. If someone doesn't want to do the thing that we want them to do, we have to try and guilt trip them, which is sort of what you've done. He has a duty to try and reach a maximal number of people. There are men suffering, and he's the one that can help. That's guilt tripping. And so do you see how we have to sort of use like manipulation tactics? And to be clear, I'm not saying that you're manipulative. I'm not saying that you're bad or anything like that, but we have to kind of go to these uses of force to try and get the person to do something. The same way that if I said to you, you should start a coaching business or you should start a channel and try and help people. If you said no, then I could be like, well, think about all the men that are suffering that you're letting down. I have to kind of guilt trip you into trying to get you to do it. So I've just found in my own life, if I let people do whatever they want to do, if I, in other words, love whatever it is that someone wants to do, it's just a lot more peaceful to me. And that's why I sort of said to you, like, is it maybe sort of like, excuse me, I'm dying here, aren't I? Is it sort of bringing you a little bit of stress to believe this story of like, fuck, Andy's not helping enough people. And now I find out that his goal isn't even to build his channel. Fuck, man, like there are people out there suffering. It has sort of the same energy as an environmentalist who gets really fucking panic stricken if someone puts the empty Coke can not in the recycling bin. They throw it in the trash instead of the recycling. And that person gets really upset and, oh my God, but fuck, like you have a responsibility, the world, global warming, climate change, and all of that. It's just not super peaceful. And again, you can hold on to that story if you want to. I'm not telling you that you have to drop that story, but yeah, it just isn't my rule book. It isn't something that I want. I don't want to have a massively large audience to maximally serve the rest of the world. That isn't something that I want. Something else, when we tell other people what they should do, and when we try and put our rule book or our way of going through life on someone else, remember that you're not the person who lives that life. So if you say to me, Andy, you have a responsibility, you have a duty, there are men suffering, you need to build your channel as much as you can and reach a maximal number of people. You're not the one that has to do that. You're not the one that has to do all that content. You're not the one that has to help all those people. You're not the one that has to coach all those people. You're not the one that would have to respond, and not that I would have to respond, but you're not the one that would get the influx of all the comments, which also means an increase in negative comments. You're not the one that would have to deal with the maybe temptation to start feeling egotistical about, oh my God, look at me, I have a bigger audience. You're not the one that would have to deal with the feelings that I get when I focus on building a massive business and helping a lot of people, which makes me feel very overwhelmed, makes me feel very like it's not good for my mental health. You're not the one that deals with all of that. That's not you. That's me. And so often when we try and tell other people what they should do, it's like we're a backseat driver and we get to walk away from the situation and say, you should do this, but we don't deal with any of the effort that would be required for that to happen, or any of the, not responsibilities, but any of the consequences of that happening. It's very easy to tell other people what to do and to be that backseat driver who says, you should lose weight. You should do this. You should break up with your boyfriend because he's bad for you. You should be building this channel. Hey, you should start your own business. You should quit your job because your boss isn't very nice to you. You should quit. But we're not dealing with any of the feelings or any of the choices or any of the consequences that would come with that decision. So again, it's very easy for us to backseat drive and tell other people how to live their life. But a philosophy that's helped me a lot is, first of all, I would say to someone, what do you want? And if you had asked that question, my answer, well, I already answered the question. I already told you guys, like, I'm happy with the way things are going. What I want is to just humbly serve whoever's in front of me right now and focus on that and help people. That's what I want. So I usually start with that question of like, what does the person want, rather than what do I think they should do? Because I'm usually wrong as well. That's another thing. And I talk about that in the upcoming video course. If I tell someone what I think they should do, most of the time I'm fucking wrong because I don't know them. I don't know their preferences. I don't know what they like. And kind of the same thing here. So you might have this feeling and this beautiful passion. And I love this passion, to be clear. You know, this isn't me trying to take the wind out of your sails. I love this passion, but you have this passion of Andy should do this. Man, imagine if Andy did this. He has a duty. He has to do this. But you haven't sort of stopped to listen to what it is that I might want. You haven't asked. You haven't checked. And so that's sort of the thinking there. So I hope that helps. If it doesn't, that's okay too. But yeah, it just isn't what I want. So, and I hope none of this comes across as like picking on you. I'm trying to say this to help, but Irrelevant goes on to say exactly what I just said. Yeah, if you want Kill Your Inner Loser to grow, you can't expect Andy to just take the burden at your word. However, you could make that happen by sharing the channel around, talking about the philosophies. Hell, make your own offshoot. Interesting. Yeah. Sort of similar to what I said. And to be clear, like, I wouldn't even say it like that. Like, you have to do this. Like, no, do it if you want to. Don't do it if you want to. But I'm quite happy with my life. And it just isn't what I want to, like, maximally build the audience and maximally serve as many people as I possibly can. Because here's another thing to think. And this is a big part of the reason why I try not to tell people what they should do. I like to just say, what do you want to do? And then I'll facilitate that for you. Like, I'll listen to you, the individual, and you'll tell me what you want, and I'll then try and make that happen. If I tell you what you should do, I'm sort of missing all of the things that you might want to do. And I'm missing, like, what your greater mission might actually be and what you would actually enjoy and what you would actually be happy with. And so, you know, if I was to, which I'm not going to obviously, but like, if I was to do what you said and go, oh, okay, well, he guilt tripped me, and I know you weren't trying to guilt trip me, but like, Do you see how that's what we have to resort to if someone doesn't do what we want them to do? We have to resort to like force and like guilt tripping and like trying to like manipulate, and not in a malicious, evil way, but we have to try and use persuasive arguments, which is manipulation. And again, I don't mean that in a bad way, but like we have to resort to those sort of tactics. You're missing what the person might want to do. And I don't know where I was going with that. I feel like I already made that point, but yeah, whatever. I feel like I made that point. Irrelevant says, completely off topic, but I brought some Vegemite. Shit's amazing on a spoon. I don't understand people who don't like it. It is a very strong flavor, to be clear. I think that's why people don't like it. I don't mind it. I'll happily eat it. I tell you what I do like. I like putting it in sauce, which I believe is like one of the main intentions of it, like what it's for. You use it in cooking. So you put a little bit, like a teaspoon, in a stir fry, and it adds so much like flavor. It's almost like gravy, almost. Adds like so much flavor. Or like in a steak sauce, if you put it in there with like some onions, you like grill some onions, like reduce them down, mix that with a tiny bit of Vegemite while it's cooking. It's really nice. It's like a flavor enhancer for me. But yeah, plenty of Australians will eat Vegemite. Not to the level where like everyone's eating it, but I think most Australians don't mind Vegemite. And British people eat it too. But theirs is called like Promite or Marmite, but it's the same thing. Okay, funny story. I took a woman on a date. There was this woman that I met. She was a Polish woman. I approached her. She was just like walking around the shopping center, and she was so into me and I was so into her. And I was like, yo, what are you up to? And she's like, I just moved to Australia like 2 weeks ago or something. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, what things have you done since you got here? Like, have you been to any sort of like tourist areas or any monuments or any of that? And she was like, no, not really. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take you around. Like, come on, let's go do some cool shit. And I was like, what Australian things have you done? And she's like, none. And I was like, okay, have you tried Vegemite? She's like, no. So we went and got a jar of Vegemite. We went to like a little tourist shop, and I bought her like a little tiny, like little toy kangaroo for like $2 or whatever, little pretend kangaroo. And I was like, there you go. Now you've met a kangaroo. We tried Vegemite. She fucking hated it. We ended up having sex a few dates later. She was amazing. I really liked her. Her name was Margazata. She was Polish. That's my Vegemite story. Ped, you go on to say, I would consider myself utilitarian, so that's why that's my belief. I think that's beautiful, man. Channel that. Yeah, this is what I was going to say to you before. And again, do whatever you want to do. But take that beautiful utilitarian energy, or that energy that you're putting on me, that burden that you're putting on me, that you want me to do the thing that you want to do. What if you did that yourself? What if you started your own YouTube channel? Or what if you just in your own life found one guy who you felt was suffering with his dating life, and you just tried to love him a little bit and support him and encourage him in whatever way that you possibly could? What if you did that? It's like that Gandhi saying, be the change that you want to see in the world. Or what Byron Katie says all the time, which I love, is she's like, if I want someone else to do something, why don't I just fucking go first and do it? And so same thing here. Like if you're wanting me to go and have a big impact on the world, which is beautiful, brother. I think that's beautiful, to be clear. I think that's really beautiful. It's just not what I want though. Like you haven't asked me what I want. You've kind of used me as a puppet for your own goals. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, what if you were to start doing that? What if you were to be that change that you want to see in the world? So yeah, use that same energy, man, if you want to. You go on to say, our society is built around conditioning others to do as we believe would be most beneficial for society. Yeah, I can see that. I've said that before. Like society is often the goal of society. Society, you can almost look at it like an organism, and the goal of society is to keep itself alive, obviously. And different societies have different ways of doing that. A lot of what societies do is they expand and they go to war and they try and control and dominate and force and all of that to try and grow and to try and survive. And they will dominate their own citizens in the same way, and not in a malicious way, but it's to keep itself alive. It's coming from a place of fear or a place of like, fuck, I got to stay alive. And so that's why you see police will use force, governments will use force, the education system uses a lot of force, and it sort of wants to not control, but educate people and push people into a little box where they then perpetuate society. Like the goal of society is to keep itself going. The goal of education is to train you to be someone that would fit into society. So yeah, I think I agree with that point. I think it's a well-phrased way of saying it. You say the core tenet of our society is essentially that which you're condemning. Are you talking to me or are you talking to Irrelevant? Because I'm definitely not condemning anything. You might be projecting a little bit there. I definitely don't condemn anything. And if there's any of my content, apart from my old content, in my old content, I definitely did. So you'd be fair to say that. But if I've condemned anything over the last year, please point that out to me, because that's definitely not the direction that I'm taking myself and my content. I'm trying to be a lot more open and loving and all of that. So I definitely don't condemn anything in society. Once you understand stuff, you don't really condemn it anymore anyway. Once you have love for stuff, you don't really condemn it. So like I said, I know exactly why society is doing what it's doing. I know why society has the core tenets of, like, you should fit in with society, because society wants to keep going. I think that's a beautiful thing. It's not bad. I definitely wouldn't condemn that. It just isn't necessarily always what I want to do. And a lot of my channel is very much around like, hey, what do you want to do? And if you want to be part of society and fit in, then fuck yeah, I support you on that. I love you. If you want to be your own unique man or woman, then fuck yeah, I love that. I'll support that. So yeah. You go on to say, I would give my blood to help these guys and in turn women have better relationships. I mean, if you want to, why don't you do that? Like, you don't have to give your blood, funnily enough, but like, what if you try that? What if you just try, like, I'll pick one guy that I think is like suffering a little bit. That could be a guy in my YouTube comments, or pick a woman that you think is suffering. It could be a friend. What if you just say like, hey, can I do anything for you? And you can say, I'm not an expert, but like, can I help you in any way? Is there anything I can give you? Even if it's just a hug. What if you went around, what if you held a sign, you went to your local like shopping mall or a busy street and held a sign that said free hugs, and you just gave hugs to a bunch of men and women. And when you give them the hug, you say, how you doing? Is there anything I can do for you other than this hug? Do you need anything? Like, that would have far more of an impact. That's all Mother Teresa ever really did. She just loved people. That was literally her mission. You go on to say the core, it is in a dire state. That's a story. How do you feel when you believe that story? But I would only help fractionally as effectively as you. So how do you feel when you believe the story that society's in a dire state? Can't imagine that feels peaceful. I would question that and keep that story if you want to. I'm not here to tell you what to believe or what not to believe, but I don't believe the story that society's in a dire state. If you're interested in more of this topic in the video course that I'm doing, I talk exactly what I'm talking about here. So there's this slide here, this chapter here. Everything is a story and you're in control of the stories that you tell. You are right now saying, as if it is objective truth, you're saying society's in a dire state. I mean, you can believe that if you want to, but that's just a story. I could easily say society is in the most beautiful state it's ever been in. And you could give me 100 pieces of evidence as to why society's in a dire state and we're all fucked and the world's falling apart. You could give me 1,000 pieces of evidence. And then I could give you 1,000 pieces of evidence as to why society's in a beautiful state. And it's the best it's ever been. Which one of us is correct? And as I say in this, there really isn't a correct way. There's like multiple ways of looking at something. We can tell a story that something is bad or terrible or unfair, or, society's in a dire state, it all sucks. Or we can tell a story that it's good. Society's amazing. We have the internet. We have all of this free information. I can sit here and coach you for free across the other side of the world, and all of you can ask questions and we can come together and build something beautiful. I could tell a story that it's beautiful or bad. You tell whatever stories you want. And so neither version of the story is wrong or right. They're just different tellings of an event. They're different ways of looking at things. They're basically two different sides of the same coin. And as I say, tell whatever story you want. You are the author. You are in control. And I go on to say, if we're in control of the stories that we tell, if we're the author, wouldn't we want to tell the stories that serve us, the stories that get us closer to our goals or closer to the person that we want to be, the stories that make us feel good and motivate us and fill us with energy and joy? And I can kind of put it to you and say, how do you feel when you believe the story that society is in a dire state? Does that get you pumped up and excited to work on your goals? Or do you feel a little hopeless, a little rejected, a little sad, frustrated, unhappy? Like, oh my God, fuck, society's fucked and Andy doesn't seem to give a shit. Oh my God. Like, does that feel good? Does that make you want to work on your goals? Does it make you more excited to improve society? Or does it make you feel like there's a massive, big problem that you don't even know how to begin fixing? Which in your own words is sort of what you've said. Andy should do it because I can't do it. It's too big, it's too fucked, I can't fix it. It kind of makes you feel a little hopeless. But if you were to believe a more positive story, a story that makes you feel a little better, maybe society's doing just fine. Maybe society doesn't give a fuck about my opinion and it's actually okay. Maybe the universe is okay and it doesn't need me. It's kind of like that joke that Byron Katie says a lot. Who needs God's opinion when we have yours? It's kind of like that. And that's not meant as a criticism, by the way, but yeah, I like to tell the stories that serve me. And when I believe that society is doing okay, it's then not a big deal for me to make it even a little bit better. Society's going okay and I'd like to make it a tiny bit better. Cool, that's easy. But if I tell the story that society is in a dire state, I don't know how to fix that. I'm just one person. How do I even fix that? Which is why you're feeling the hopelessness, which is why you're passionately asking me to do it, because you are literally feeling like, Andy, this is too big. I can't do this, Andy. You even go on to say, I do want to help, but I will never be as effective as you. Can you really know that's true? Like, what a fucking story that is. You say some of my mentees have come a long way and I'm actually very proud of them. So what if you just kept going with that? How do you think I started? I just started by helping one person. I didn't have a 7,000 subscriber YouTube channel when I started. I started this shit 4 years ago. What on earth makes you think that you will never be as effective as me? What a story that is. So yeah, all of this is just, we're playing around with some concepts here. And these are very advanced topics, by the way. And none of this is me telling you that you need to give up your fucking stories or any of that. But I'm trying to gently hold up a mirror to you and show you that maybe some of the stories, I'm leaving a little wiggle room for you. If you're willing to explore this, maybe some of the stories that you have told yourself might not be 100% true. They might be true. I don't know. But they might also not be true. And you're in control of the stories that you tell. And so I just personally have found if I tell a positive story of society's gone pretty fucking well and I just want to make it a little better, that's more motivating for me. I will then actually get in there and do something to help. And if you tell a story of I think men are fine. They're doing pretty good. And there's a few guys that could use some help and I'm going to help them. I think you would actually help more people rather than if you feel that hopeless sense of I can't do anything. Andy needs to step in because I'll never be as effective as him. So yeah, tell whatever stories you want. Or YNK No says, Andy, what headphones do you use at the gym? These ones, as Irrelevant said, they're the Sony WH-1000XM5. What a fucking name, right? I cannot believe Sony came up with that name. I love you, fucking Sony. You got some wild fucking naming schemes. Absolutely beautiful. So, yes, they're very good headphones. They're very expensive, but they last a very long time. I had a previous pair that was an earlier model that lasted for 4 or 5 years, and I used them daily. I fucking brutally use these bad boys. I throw them in bags, I squish them up, I'm wearing them basically nonstop all day. They last for a ridiculously long time too. The battery life is 30 hours. I feel like I never really have to charge them. They're amazing. And they charge in 30 minutes. They're fucking amazing. The noise canceling on them is God tier. They're amazing for voice calls. They sound beautiful. They're a beautiful pair of headphones. I really love these. They're one of my favorite purchases. I don't tend to buy a lot of... Actually, that's not true. I buy some stuff, but these are one of my favorite tech things that I've ever bought. I think we might start wrapping up. I will blast through the rest of your questions, you guys. But I'm starting to get a really sore voice. Amog says, hey, Andy, one last question. How do you deal with girls thinking you are weird for talking to them? I just don't talk to them. You know what I mean? Irrelevant answered your question as well. I just, why would I talk to that? And yeah, some girls might think you're weird for talking to them because a lot of people don't talk to strangers. I make jokes to every stranger. I constantly, if you followed me around, you'd be like, man, this guy talks to fucking everybody. I talk to everybody. I'll just say comments to people. I'll smile at people. I'll say hello to random strangers. I will say, yo, I love your shoes. I'll make jokes all the time. I talk to fucking everybody. And some people give me a weird look every now and then. It doesn't happen very often, but some people will give me a weird look. I don't take it personally. They're just believing their own stories, or they're in their own head, or they don't want to talk to me, or they think I'm weird. What do I care? It's not my business. It's not my business to guess what they might be thinking or to be in their head. That's their business. And I want them to have whatever thoughts they want to have. I'm too busy then talking to the next person. So yeah, this is one of those things, man, where we've said it to you a few times in this live stream. The thing that'll make you feel better is just talking to some women. You know what I mean? Like, because you'll see stuff like this doesn't really matter. Like, these are the theory questions that you're going to have, where once you talk to 30 women, you'll go, oh, fuck, all those questions I asked Andy and the other guys, they didn't even matter. Like, it just, what do I care if one woman thinks I'm weird? The other 29 didn't think I was weird, so I'll just talk to them. Or what does it matter if one girl, like, thinks I'm a creep? She's allowed to think that. Maybe I am a creep. Who cares? The other 20 women didn't think I was a creep. And probably the best, let me find it for you. There's an article I wrote called something like, getting laid a lot sometimes means you'll accidentally be creepy. Yeah, this article here. So you can just search my website. Getting laid a lot sometimes means you'll accidentally be creepy. Or, you know, like a girl will think you're weird or whatever. And let me show my beautiful little face here. In this article, I talked about, the fact that like some women will just think you're weird and like that's okay. And I show this screenshot of a girl that I dated and had sex with and even had a threesome with her and Imogen. I know it's hard to read the text, so I'll read it out. In my bio, my bio said, when I was little, girls hated when I pulled their hair. Funny how some things change. It's kind of, like a little analogy for BDSM and stuff like that. And so she said, hey, so does your bio line work on many girls? I must say it made me giggle. And I said, it works on the fun ones. And she said, I showed it to my housemate and she said you were a creep. But I was pretty into it. This is a girl that we ended up having sex with. And wait, before I click on this, let me make sure there's no... Okay, I won't show that on screen because I think there's like nude pictures in that article. Yeah, we did some like nude photography together. But basically, like, we met up with her, we had sex, we had a threesome, saw her a couple of times. Like, so her housemate says, you're creepy, or I think you're weird. And she says, I like it, I'm into it, let's have sex. So there's going to be plenty of women that think you're weird or think you're creepy. That's okay. They can think whatever they want. You are going to think some women are weird. That doesn't have to reflect on them. You just weren't into them. So talk to the people that like you. Don't worry so much about the people that don't. It's kind of just like a numbers game thing. You know what I mean? Ped, you go on to say, that is semantics though. I say dire because many of these guys are struggling so hard to get romantic affection from women that it literally consumes their lives. Yeah, that's probably true. Lots of these guys have incredible careers, education, skilled hobbies, but the lack of romantic success absolutely consumes their mind to the point that they're depressed. That's true. There's lots of depressed people in the world. When I say dire, I don't mean society as a whole, but romantic prospects for men in the West. Yeah, but if you're going to eliminate, like I agree with everything you're saying, but if you're going to eliminate all suffering, good luck. Because that's kind of what you're saying. Like, I want to eliminate suffering. I don't want anyone to be depressed. It's like, well, motherfucker, good luck with that. There's a lot of people. And a lot of things you do won't change that. And so for me, I've just found that it's more effective to focus on one person at a time. Here's a video that you might want to watch, the one at the top. Watch this if you want to, don't if you don't. But it's called You Can't Save Everybody. It took me about 3 or 2 years of coaching to figure this out. I can't save everybody. And you might still be going through that right now. Like, it might not be something that you've realized. And I'm in a beautiful privileged position where I've been doing this for long enough that I've realized, like, oh, fuck, I can't save everybody. Maybe it was never my job to save everybody in the first place. And you know what? Maybe that's just a story that I tell of, like, I should save everybody. I have to save society. I have to help everyone. These people are depressed and suffering. It's like, yeah, dude, didn't like 2,000 people die in the war or whatever that with the fucking Israel shit that's going on right now? You didn't save any of them. Why didn't you save them? And you can get yourself really caught up in like, these people are depressed. I have to help them. I have to help them. I have to help them. And again, that's a beautiful thing. I think it's fucking beautiful. But how would you even help lots of people? I think maybe you have a misunderstanding. And fair enough, you don't do content creation. Remember that I've done 1,500 pieces of content at this point. Like, what you're going to find, and any organization will tell you this, any charity will tell you this, every humanitarian cause will tell you this, even people like Mr. fucking Beast will tell you this, who does a lot of good. The way that you help a lot of people is one person at a time. I think that maybe you have a misunderstanding, which is fine. Lots of people have this misunderstanding until you set up a charity or do content or coach or help people or become a psychologist. There's a misunderstanding, or there might be a misunderstanding here, that if I want to help a lot of people, I have to help a lot of people all at once. No, brother, that's not how you do it. No. In doing so, you will actually neglect a lot of people. And again, if you want more on these topics, if you find this interesting, or anybody else, Mother Teresa's books are a, pun intended, godsend at talking about these, or going down these paths and discovering this kind of shit. She talked a lot about these kind of things, and she wanted to help a lot of people, but the way that she did that was one person at a time. And she just did that until she slowly built up her organization, slowly built up more, houses and more women and more nuns and all of that kind of stuff, and slowly spread. It's the way you help people. You help people one person at a time. And you might be doing content that lots of people see, but anytime, you wouldn't know this because you haven't done content. Again, remember, I've been doing this for a while, brother. I've been doing 1,500 pieces of content at this time. At the start, and there's been several periods where I've tried to help a lot of people. I've gone, okay, I need to help a lot of people with this article. This Tinder guide has to help a lot of people. And what happens is your message gets diluted because you're now not writing for one person who's suffering or one person who might need help. You're trying to think too big. Your ego got in the way, and you're trying to think too big and on a big scale. And that's not how you help people. You end up getting bloated. You end up just watering down what you're saying. It doesn't feel like it has any personality to it. It doesn't feel like you're actually caring about someone, because you're not. Like, a group of people is not someone that you care about. The way that you actually empathize with someone, the way that you actually help a lot of people, ironically, is by just trying to help one person. And if a lot of people read that and see that, beautiful. So yeah, that's like a separate topic. But I think, man, your heart is in such a fucking beautiful place. I think you've just gotten yourself caught up thinking like, fuck, Andy has to do it. And it's like, why don't you do it? Like, if you want to do it, do it. It sounds like you're on that path, because you said, I just brought a streaming camera and I want to start creating content. Yeah. Okay. So even rather than saying I want to start creating content, I would say I just want to help one person. Like, how do I just help one person? And you'll see a lot of my content does that. I'll just answer someone's comment from YouTube and I'll put that on the screen while I respond. Or I will talk about something in a coaching. And obviously all of my coaching, like in the coaching program, which I'm assuming you're not, you're probably not in the coaching program, but I just help one person at a time. And it's like the easiest way of helping people. But at the end of the day, do whatever you want. So you said, what books have you read to draw these philosophical conclusions on life and stories? Is there a particular philosopher you subscribe to? I'll give you some ones to start with. Maybe like Byron Katie, David Hawkins, The Greatest Secret. What else? Everything, like I said, everything Mother Teresa. What else is useful? I mean, read all those if you want to and see what's useful for you, see what's not useful for you. Yeah. And to be clear, maybe there's a little misunderstanding there. So you said, what books have you read to draw these conclusions, these philosophical conclusions? No, these aren't conclusions. These are just what works for me. This isn't like a philosophical conclusion on life and stories. These are just like what has worked for me. Like, again, to tie it into the stories thing, we're all just kind of telling stories. And believe that or don't believe that, but that's just my experience. Carl Jung really helps. So Carl Jung, Freud really helps. Stoicism, like all Stoicism helps, where they talk about focus on the internal world rather than the external world. So maybe rather than saying we have to like save all these men that are suffering or save society or any of that, what if I change my internal thinking? Like, what if I just work on loving myself and then the rest of the world will follow in suit? Funnily enough, that's probably the answer that I would give you as well. You're saying I want to help a lot of these guys and do all of this stuff. The biggest, if that is your goal and something that you're really passionate about, the biggest thing you could do is live the most amazing, happy, beautiful life. And then we would all take inspiration from that. Like, honestly, that is the biggest impact that you could ever have. The best thing or the biggest impact that I've ever had on anyone else was overcoming my depression, overcoming my, weight, learning how to have sex, building a relationship with Imogen over the last 6 years, getting to a point where I'm happy, all of that kind of stuff. Because people get inspired by that. They go, holy shit, if he can do it, I can do it too. So funnily enough, like all this effort that you're sort of putting into like helping the external world, it's kind of like the Jordan Peterson thing. So there you go. There's another book that you could read. Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules for Life. He says, rather than saying how society should run, and like rather than trying to save society and fix other people and help other people, why don't you make your own damn bed? Like focus on the internal world. So that's sort of like stoicism. Another really good book with that you might like is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. He talks about the same concept, like focus on yourself, focus on improving yourself. Don't worry about like what other people are doing. Take responsibility for everything. So yeah, I would try and build, I mean, do whatever you want, but I would, if it was me, build the best life, or what has worked for me is building the best life that I possibly can. And other people seem to go, well, that's cool. I want to do a bit of that. Rather than me saying what you're kind of saying that I should do, which is, Andy, you have a responsibility. You should help all these depressed guys. It's like, no, how about I just build my life and live my life? And other people can take whatever inspiration they want from that. Again, my desire is not to go and help all the depressed people in the world. Like, I don't want to. I don't care. How would I even? And this might be a little hard for you to see, but maybe you can see, and if you can't, that's fine. But I don't know if you can see how stuck you are in your own stories. Like, I don't know if you can see that. But if you can see that, then this next conversation I'm about to have will make sense. And if you can't, maybe you can see how other people in the chat that I talked to earlier might have been stuck in their stories. Like the guy Lunning Kingwist, that username, that guy. Where he was maybe believing some of his stories. He was stuck in a certain way of thinking and he couldn't see outside of that. And to a certain extent, you're doing the same thing. So if you can see that he's doing it, maybe you can see that you're doing it. Maybe not, that's fine. But when we're stuck in these stories, God, I am dying. When we're stuck in these stories, fuck, I lost it. I forgot what fucking point I was going to make there, but whatever. I'm tired, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, anyway, I'm reading the rest of what you're saying. You go to say, Ped, you go on to say, I'm sharing lots of my perspectives specifically on how to be successful in dating. I'm essentially just copying you. Yeah, copy me, dude. There's a really good book that you would like, or you might like. It's called Steal Like an Artist. I really like this book. It is literally permission to just copy other people and give credit. And that's something I did a lot in my early articles and then my early videos. I copied Good Looking Loser a lot and Mark Manson and Caleb Jones. But I would just say it. I would be like, Good Looking Loser always talks about this concept and here's my thoughts on it. Or Caleb Jones always says this and here's why I like that thinking. And so that book sort of gives you permission to just like copy. You can like copy me if you want to. And then you say, I do have my own unique perspectives on my own unique journey and the struggles. Yeah, like you'll develop your own voice the more you do it. But still, I give you permission. I've had this conversation with quite a few of my coaching clients because a lot of people come to me, or a decent amount of people have come to me to start their own content. Like they want to do coaching, kind of like it sounds like maybe you're interested in doing. And sometimes they're almost scared. They're like, Andy, I want to do content, but I'm so scared that I'll sound like you. And I literally just say, bro, I give you permission to copy me. I give you permission to literally just 100% copy me. I don't care. Copy me. Nothing bad happens if you copy me. So copy me. So copy me at the start. Over time with practice, you'll figure out your own voice. I, at the start, sounded a lot like Good Looking Loser when I started. And I even had someone say, look, I love that you're trying, Andy, to be honest, but you just sound a lot like Good Looking Loser. This sounds like you're just stealing his ideas. And I was like, oh my God, no, someone thought that I copied. Oh my God, he thinks I'm stealing. And then a day or two later, I was like, wait, why does it matter? Why do I care? So yeah, you'll develop your voice the more you do it. You say, I'm helping people one at a time, but if I want to scale my ability to help, it has to be through content. Okay, I think you're stuck in this story, and it's not my job to take stories away from you. And you won't let me take your story away, but it might help you, if you want to read Mother Teresa's books. I would start with her books. Which one would I start with? Let me have a look for you. I think the one that's called like Light, something, a light. Yeah, Come Be My Light. There you go. This one here, the top one. Mother Teresa, Come Be My Light. Pretty much all her good. No Greater Love is pretty good too. No, actually, I take all that back. I take all that back. Read this. I take all of that back. Read A Simple Path if you want to. This is like specifically on how to help people. So it's called A Simple Path. And she talks about what you're talking about there, you know, where you said like, I'm helping people one at a time, but my ego wants me to scale my ability to help, and I have to do that. It's, I know you might not be able to see it right now, but it's your ego. Like your ego is kind of getting in the way, and ironically, you'll help less people because now you have an agenda. Your agenda is like, you're trying to scale my ability. I have to help everyone. I have to, and you'll kind of, like I said, you'll ignore the one person that is right in front of you, that because you're thinking of the bigger picture, and that person will be sitting right in front of you. And I'm saying this from experience. Remember, I've been doing this for like 4 years. The person will be right in front of you and they'll be saying, I'm depressed. And instead of you actually listening to them and really getting down on their level and going, I'm here for that. I understand. How does that fit? I'm right here. You won't be able to do that fully because you'll be in your own head thinking, oh, fuck, I just have to hurry up and help this person because I have to get to the mission of helping more people. Or like, fuck, like this person needs my help right now, but like, I don't think it's going to help enough people. So I'm going to ignore their email and I need to do content about this. I have to do content's going to reach the most people. How can I help the most people? And like, you'll ignore the person that's right in front of you that's suffering right now that you could very much help. And to be clear, it's not that it's bad doing content. I obviously do content. But if you're putting your main mission at, I have to scale my ability to help, I have to do content to help a lot of people, you will come across as disingenuous. People won't have a connection to you. You will come across as, I don't know, almost like corporate or something. You'll come across as like too good to help one person at a time. You'll come across as too big. You won't be down there with the little guy. Again, if we're going to put a list of the people who've had the biggest impact on society in the last like 50 or 60 or 70 years, Mother Teresa is probably at the top of that list. And if you read all of her books, she will tell you she helped one person at a time. She didn't worry about her ability to scale. She didn't worry about doing content that reaches the most amount of people. Like, no, at the start, it was being humble and helping one person at a time. You're also, just from an entrepreneur point of view, completely missing the mark. Like, you know, I need to scale my ability to help. You don't have a business. You don't have coaching. You don't have a website. You don't have content. You're at the start worrying about how to scale. Brother, we worry about scaling in like year 5, year 10. Any entrepreneur will tell you that. Go and read some entrepreneur books. Go and listen to some content creators who are millionaires or who've helped a ton of people or who have big content channels, and they'll tell you, yo, scaling comes later. Scaling is a word when you're in the intermediate or advanced stages, but certainly not at the start. So I think maybe you're just putting the cart before the horse. But at the end of the day, the fact that you even have all of this inside you, you clearly have some fucking insane passion. And I will fully admit, I've sat here and probably argued with you a little bit, but part of that is because I'm tired. So I'll cut myself some slack there. But you clearly have a lot of passion here. I think that's fucking beautiful. I think with this passion, you're probably unstoppable. And I think that you'll go out and help some people and you'll probably try and scale. And then you'll go, fuck, maybe I don't need to scale so much. Maybe I'll just help like you'll figure all this shit out. You'll figure out what works for you. And yeah, maybe you scaling and building a big business and lots of content does fucking help. But I think you have so much passion about this and it's clearly something you care about and you clearly are empathetic and you clearly care about the people that you're seeing unhappy. I think you're probably unstoppable. And the fact that all of us have said to you, you know, or me and Irrelevant and maybe one or two others have said to you, look, instead of telling Andy to do it, why don't you do it? The fact that your answer is like, yeah, I am. It's like, well, yeah, fucking good job, brother. Like you're on the fucking path, man. Like good fucking job. So give yourself a big pat on the back for that. Give yourself a big hug. Like you're clearly fucking doing this shit, man. Like just have some patience. I think patience is maybe the thing that might help you here. You know, patience for you and patience for me. Like, do you really think that 20 years from now, Andy, do you think that I won't be helping more people than I am right now, 20 years from now? I'm assuming your answer to that is, yeah, Andy, I know you'll be helping more people in 20 years from now. So just have a little bit of patience. Yeah. And patience for yourself too. You know, you're saying I'm helping people one at a time, but I want to scale. It's like a little bit of patience. You're doing a good job, in other words. Keep helping the people that you're helping, and over time you'll slowly scale that up. Like I am. I'm slowly scaling up. You know, things like the video course that I'm doing right now that I think will help a lot of people. So you might find that I'm already doing the thing that you want me to be doing. You might already be doing the thing that you want you to be doing. And it's kind of stepping back a little bit and going like, oh, shit, it's already happening. I kind of talk about that in the video course a little bit. I say often like we're making progress, but we're kind of being impatient. We're lacking that patience. But if we actually pause and say, am I making progress? We step back and we go, oh, fuck. I'm already doing the thing that I wanted to be doing. Shit. Holy shit. I'm already doing it. So sounds like you're on that path, man. I think that's fucking beautiful. Flozo says, hey guys, how you doing? Pretty good, Flozo. I'm gonna go soon though. I am so fucking exhausted. To be fair, we've been here for 3 hours and I've been talking nonstop for 3 hours. I start to lose my voice after a while on these things. Even my coaching calls, which go for like 3 hours, they're easier because people were going back and forwards. It's not just me talking for 3 hours straight. I'm so impressed by people who talk for like all day. Or like singers at a concert. That impresses me. Like I can't imagine how they do that. Flozo, you say guys respond to coaching better, women respond to therapy better. What are your thoughts on this statement? I don't know, man. I'm just trying to do my thing. I'm too dumb to know the answer to that question. I don't really know. I really don't know. Expand on that question if you want a little bit, although I am going to go in the next, 15 minutes. But what do you mean by coaching, I guess? Like I don't know how to answer. I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe that's not like a glamorous answer. If you're going to ask the question of like, women like to be listened to and loved and understood with their emotions and all of that, and guys tend to prefer like guys like that too, but guys tend to prefer just tell me what to do. Just give me the fucking actionable steps. Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. It doesn't always hold true. And I've found, especially in my coaching program, yeah, as Ped just said, men are just as sensitive, 100%. Yeah, I was going to say, like in my coaching program, most of what I give to people is everything is okay. Everything is going to be okay. And like, you're going to make it. Most of my coaching you would see is we obviously give actionable advice, but most of what we give people is like a big hug and we listen to them and we're like, hey, like it's okay. Like you're okay. Your emotions are okay. Like all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I agree. Men are just as sensitive. I think that men just don't believe that they are able to share and often don't get a good reaction or the reaction they wanted when they do share. Like often it's like, put your emotions away. Come on. Like you got shit to do. You got work to do. Like, shut up. Come on. Like, I think we do get a fair bit of that. There's also a lot of like stories that we have in our own head of like, they'll think I'm a pussy if I share my emotions. And some of that might be true. I think it definitely takes more effort for men to share their emotions, but I think you guys in this community are pretty fucking good. I think we're all pretty fucking honest about our emotions. And most of my coaching clients are really good. Some of them really struggle with it, and then we slowly get them to open up. Ped, you go on to say, I want to get out of my story, but when I see, to be fair, you'll let go of that story if you need, like when you're ready to, or you'll keep it forever if you want to. That was kind of what I wrote in the video course on like everything as a story. I said like, keep the stories that serve you. And, you know, I'm a little tired and maybe I'm a bit clumsy with my wording in the last like half an hour, but to sort of backtrack and make it more clear, like I'm not saying your story is wrong. I know that it probably came across like that. I'm really tired, man. I'm like really fucking tired. Like keep the story if you want to. If you're believing the story right now, or if you have the story, if you have the thought of like, you know, all these men are suffering and it's dire and I got to help them. Like, bro, if that helps you take action, great. Like, you have a story here of like, all these guys are completely led astray by the online dating coaching industry, and I got a duty to step in. Dude, if that makes you take action and moves you towards your goals, keep that fucking story. Like, but I guess my whole point is like, understand that you are telling a story, and that we could easily then sit there and say, well, hey, look, maybe there aren't a lot of guys led astray by the online dating. Like, we could tell the opposite story, but at the end of the day, tell the story that serves you well. And my reason for saying that to you, like when I say you're just telling a story, and I'm always just telling stories too, like that's all I ever do. But the reason that I'm getting you to sort of see that it's a story is so that you can not necessarily get stressed by the story. Like, you don't have to get stressed by the story. You don't have to be like, oh my God, like you don't have to tell you don't have to add extra stress and suffering on top of the story. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you can kind of be a little bit more, I guess, neutral, but that might not be the word. Maybe like neutral about the story. And the book Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink really helps with this. What I'm trying to get you to do is be a bit more like peaceful with the story. So tell the same story. Say there are all these guys that are completely led astray by the online dating coaching industry, and I have a duty to step in. But feel peace when you tell that story. Go like, yeah, and I'm going to step in. It's going to be beautiful. I'm going to step in there. I'm going to help some of these guys. I'm going to be a bit clumsy for a while because, hey, Andy's clumsy and that's okay too. Like, I give myself permission to suck. And yeah, I'm going to step in there and just say, hey, look, I know that you've been led astray by the online dating coaching industry. I'm here. I'm here for you. I love you. Let's fucking go. How can I help? And so you can feel like peace and excitement with that story. And to be fair, maybe you are feeling peace and excitement with that story. Maybe I'm projecting onto you. It's really hard to tell how you feel from like a fucking text box, obviously. But if there is a little bit of stress there, if there is a little bit of like, fuck, Andy should do this, he has a duty. If there is like a little bit of stress there, you can kind of switch it a little bit and into more excitement. And I talk more about how to do that in my video course. But yeah, switch it up into like excitement, because then you're more likely to take action. But keep the story, man. It sounds like it's a story that makes you motivated. Irrelevant says you can step in but start by doing it small, and you say I am currently beautiful. Yeah, as Irrelevant said, it's just one step at a time. You don't need to look at the whole mountain. Yeah, like it's very easy to get yourself overwhelmed, which I think maybe you're doing, of like, fuck, I gotta like help all these guys, like there's all these guys constantly being led astray. It's like, yeah, just understand that it might take you 3 to 5 years to be in a point where you can help a lot of them. It might even take longer. It might take 10 years. Like, I don't know. How the fuck do we know? It might take you 6 months. We don't know. But it might take you a little bit of time. You're probably not going to help every single guy all right now, are you? You know what I mean? Like, and so to some extent, there is a little bit of like, okay, I almost have to make peace with the fact that there will be a lot of people, a lot of men that are depressed and will be led astray by online dating coaches. You also might find it useful to make peace with the fact that there will be some men that commit suicide because they were led astray by an online dating coach. Like, literally. Like, some man might be out there right now with a knife to his wrist, and he might slash his wrist because he was led astray and depressed, and you could have stepped in and helped him, but you weren't there yet. You weren't ready yet. You didn't, like, you know what I mean? And so it at least brought me a lot of peace too. And that's why I said I had that video on my YouTube channel called You Can't Save Everybody. It brought me a lot of peace to accept the fact that, yeah, I'm not going to step in and help everybody. And not everybody wants my help. That's another thing. You know, like, if somebody's watching online dating coaches, maybe they like that content. Maybe they like the dopamine hit, or they like the story. They like to feel like dating is a fucking battle and it's me versus women. I liked that for a long time. That's why I was in the red pill. And if you came along, or if a version of me came along and said, hey, you know that you can be more honest in dating, I don't know that I would have watched it. I wasn't ready to. So there's that as well. But it sounds like you have a beautiful fucking heart, man. I would be grabbing that beautiful heart, and I would be going out there like you already are and just helping one person at a time. Flozo says, coaching equals a structure that allows you to go from A to B to C to get your end goal. Therapy is talking. Yeah. So yeah, what I said. Yeah. So to answer your original question, which was like, do you think guys prefer like actionable advice? Like, do this, then this, then this. And do you think that women get more help out of like being listened to? Yeah, I think that's like that matches up pretty well with my experience. A lot of times Imogen will This is something that Imogen and I have learned a lot in our relationship. We've adjusted a lot over the years because you guys all know that I'm someone that likes to give advice and help people and like give actionable advice. Like I like to help people the same way that Ped does, right? And so often Imogen would tell me something that was bringing her stress or unhappiness. And my first thought would be, okay, do X, then do Y, then do this, then do that. And it took us like probably honestly 4 years. So it's only really been in the last year or two. It took us 4 years to get to a point where I finally realized, oh, sometimes when she's telling me about something that's making her unhappy, she doesn't want me to fix it. She doesn't want me to give her advice. She just wants me to shut the fuck up and listen. And like that was very hard for me. That still is sometimes difficult for me. I have to actively choose to do that. But I will like just bite my tongue, or I'll always ask her, I'll say, do you want advice or do you want me to just listen? She's gotten really good now at just telling me what she wants beforehand. She'll say, hey, I just want you to listen. And I'll go, and she'll say, are you in a space where you can just listen without trying to help? And I'll be like, yes. Although sometimes I'll be like, nah, I'm just really tired. And if you tell me a problem, I'm just going to try and fix it. So maybe don't talk to me today. Just tell me tomorrow. Or write it down on a piece of paper and then I'll read it in my own time. And then that's a way we can do that. Or talk to one of your friends or tell someone else or tell your coach or any of that. So it took quite a while for me to realize like she doesn't always want me to fix things. And I've found a lot of women are like that. Some guys are like that. But I think I agree with your statement, man. I think I agree that just at least in my experience, the vast majority of men like a solution to their problems. Like they do. They also benefit from same as what Ped said. A lot of men are very sensitive. I think most men are. They just might not be in touch with that. And they can be in touch with that if they want to or not if they don't want to. But a lot of men also like the talk therapy stuff as well. But I think guys definitely respond really well to like, try this, do this, try that, do this. Flozo, you go on to say you should repost that video that you made a couple of years ago in the community tab. There's a video posted saying you have 2 months left. Oh yeah, brother. No, I'm. You know what's funny? I was actually thinking about that like this morning. I was actually thinking about that video. Isn't that weird timing? So I'll show everyone on the screen the video that you're talking about. No, there is like 0% chance that I am reposting this, and I feel hilarious even showing this on screen because this is not the way that I communicate anymore. I just pulled it up on screen. This actually makes me fucking laugh, dude. This is not how I talk anymore. Look at that video at the top. You are a pussy. You have 2 months left, you fucking pussy. The question is, are you going to man up or keep procrastinating like a bitch? Oh, man, that makes me laugh. No, I'm not going to repost that video, Flozo. I would maybe re-record that video and say it in a nicer, more loving, more gentle way. But no, that is not the way that I talk anymore. That is like guilt tripping and shame and like fear and like force and like that is not a kind way of saying it. And hey, you know, at least I was doing my best and I was trying to help people. But like, and if anyone else talks like that, that's fine, that's beautiful. But that is no, that just doesn't vibe with me anymore. To be clear, that video was posted 2 years ago. A lot of my content is just so radically different now that when I listen to it, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I called the audience fucking pussies and said, are you going to keep procrastinating like a bitch? Like, I was doing my best. That was my main way of trying to help people was like, I would just yell at them and like, and that can work. That can be like effective, but like, no, that is like not how I talk. Okay, so as you said, Flozo, you went on to ask the question of like, do the guys in your coaching respond to that negativity talk? Like, get that rep, you pussy, or more to empathy talk? Hey man, you got this. No, so I don't talk negatively like that anymore at all. Like I haven't for like a couple of years. Like, okay, maybe like a year. I don't talk like that at all. I can't. No one in the coaching program does. None of the coaches do. We have had a few people that come to the coaching that want us to talk to them like that. Like one guy in particular that I can think of who was in the coaching like 6 months ago, who really wanted us to yell at him like that. Like he specifically said, can you please yell at me and tell me that I'm a pussy? Actually, we've had a few guys say that, where they're like, can you please yell at me and tell me that I'm a pussy? And we're just like, no, Like, we're not going to do that. Like, no, that's not how we're going to talk to you. I've got a couple of videos on this. Here you go. I'll show them on the screen. Actually, I'll put them in the chat for you, because it'll give you the answer that I've come to. There you go. That's one. Because this is a beautiful question, by the way. I fucking love this question. There you go. There's 2 podcasts in the chat. And so one of them is called positive pressure versus negative pressure. And so positive pressure is like, you got this. Come on, man. You can do this. Like, you're better than this. I believe in you, man. Like, you can achieve greatness. And then negative pressure is like, you have 2 months left, you fucking pussy. Like, don't be a little bitch. And here's the other podcast is positive pressure. Be hard on yourself in a constructive way, not a destructive way. And so what that might look like is, being hard on yourself, but in a destructive way would be like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why did I pussy out on talking to that girl? I'm such a fucking loser. I'm never going to do this. Why am I such a bitch? That's like destructive. It kind of pulls you down. And so I like to be hard on myself in a constructive way. So that would be like, come on, I'm better than this. I know I'm capable of talking to that woman. I didn't have to, not talk to her. I could have gone over and said, hello, I'm better than this. I'm capable of more than this. And so you're pushing yourself up rather than pushing yourself down. So yeah, to answer your question, at the start, I had a little bit in my content, obviously, and in my coaching, I had a little bit more of that negative talk of like, come on, you fucking pussy, which was like guilt tripping people or shaming people, like, or using fear. Like, you don't want to miss out, do you, man? Like, come on, every woman that you don't talk to, like, what if you end up a virgin and alone? And I did that a lot. My coaching page was like that as well. The entire coaching page was like, you don't want to miss out, bitch. Like, can you really afford to not have a good life? And every now and then that will creep in. I can think of an email that I wrote like a month ago where I had a little bit of that fear of missing out creep in. And in some of my coaching interviews that I do with people where I like interview an old coaching client, I ask the question at the end where I'm like, where do you think you would be if you hadn't signed up for coaching? I actually had this discussion with some of my coaching clients like 2 days ago. And I was like, I think I want to stop asking that question as well, because I think then people start thinking like a fear of missing out. And as best I can, I don't want any of you to come to coaching with me feeling like, oh, fuck, I have to have Andy, otherwise I'm going to miss out. I don't want you to feel that like fear of missing out, because it doesn't feel good. I'd rather you come because you're excited or because you want to improve your life or because you feel warmth and openness or passion or whatever from me, and you want to have a little bit more of that. I want you to come for that reason, for the positive reasons, rather than like, fuck, my life will be shit if I don't sign up for coaching. And again, I haven't always been perfect with that, but that's like the direction that I'm moving more towards. I'm moving more towards like, what do you want, rather than making you feel scared of like missing out or something. So yeah, beautiful fucking question, man. So to answer the question as well, there are psychology surveys on this. It's called operant conditioning. I'll write it in the chat for you so you can spell it. Actually, I'll just show it on the fucking screen. There you go. So operant conditioning is the psychological term for what we're talking about. And you can read about like Skinner theory. You can read about the 4 stages of operant conditioning. It's a psychology term. There's lots of studies on this, and it's basically like punishment versus reward and the psychology of that and how it works and all of that. And I, in my own life, like to use positive conditioning, positive operant conditioning. I like to use reward. I like to use praise. I like to tell you that you did a good job. I like to tell you that you're loved. I like to be like, good fucking job. I do that with all the women that I date. I do that with Imogen. I do that with myself. I do that with my coaching clients, with all of you. I just found that works a lot better than negativity, like punishment. Because when I punish people, they fall down, they move down on that map of consciousness, like the hierarchy of emotions. If I punish you, you feel guilty, you feel shame, you feel fear, you feel embarrassed, which is shame. You don't feel good. And those lower level emotions like embarrassment and shame and humiliation, it's really hard to achieve big goals when you feel like you fucked up, or when you feel like you're in trouble, or when you feel like, man, he's mad at me, he's angry that I didn't do this, or he's yelling at me, I'm a pussy. Like if you sit there and focus on like, fuck, I'm a pussy, I don't want to be a pussy, you're focusing on not being a pussy. And I call that playing not to lose. Like you're trying not to lose. And part of the video course that I'm doing, this is one of the chapters. I talk about in my own life and with my coaching clients and everybody I've met, we seem to we achieve our goals a lot more and we're a lot happier when we play to win rather than playing not to lose. And so playing not to lose would be like, come on, don't be a pussy. Like, you got to go talk to that girl. You don't want to be a pussy, do you? That's playing not to lose. You're trying not to lose. You're trying not to be a pussy. But instead, we like to play to win. So we go, hey, go talk to that girl. You're going to feel amazing. It's going to be so fun. And, she's going to give you a number. Or if she doesn't, another woman will. Like, think of how much you're going to win. It's going to be amazing. And that positivity, it pulls you towards it. It's more motivating. You don't have breakdowns. You don't get discouraged. You don't feel hopeless. You don't want to quit. It's so much easier to have success if you play to win. There's like a million other reasons. And again, like, you can just watch or read this video course when it comes out. Yeah, I talk about all of this kind of stuff. I also have an article which I reference in this video course, but you can go and read this on my website. It's called The Bicycle and the Tree, and I talk about a winner's mindset versus losing mindset. And so you can listen to the audio version or just read the book, but I won't cover this because I'm getting a little tired and I'd like to finish up soon. I said that like 3 times already, but I will finish up in a second. But this article might help answer that question a little more. So yeah, these are good questions, by the way. This is all like psychology stuff. But yeah, I've just found in my own life, whatever. I'll show you one more thing and then we might wrap up. You guys and girls know the map of consciousness, which I talk about like quite a bit. It's basically like a little listing of emotions or like a hierarchy of emotions, I guess. Let's get that on the screen. So it's kind of just like a list of emotions. And, at the bottom, you got the obviously they don't feel so good emotions like shame, guilt, apathy, and grief and fear. Like, those don't feel good, right? Like, I think we all know those don't feel good. If you're ashamed of who you are, it's very hard to be like, hey, let me go and talk to that cute girl over there when I feel ashamed of who I am. Or if I feel guilty, which is like if you worry that you're a creep. I'm doing something wrong by talking to women. I'm using them. I'm creeping them out. It's very hard to go and talk to like 10 women in a weekend if you feel guilty about what you're doing, right? Or if you're trying to make money, but you feel guilty about it. If you're like, money is bad, I'm evil if I try and make money. You're not really going to make much fucking money, are you? But then higher up on the map, these emotions like peace and love and joy and reason is like logic, like stoicism. Stoicism is an instant way to jump up to like reason and logic. But any of these nice emotions up here, or acceptance or willingness or even courage, like any of these emotions that are a little higher up, it's so much easier to work on your goal and achieve things. Like if you're just feeling joy, like you're feeling love and joy and excitement for your goal, if you're like, man, this is such a beautiful thing. I get to go up to women and give them a compliment and they get to feel good. And if they're not interested, they'll just tell me and that's beautiful. And then they'll go find what they want and I'll find what I want. And man, what an amazing fucking gift this is that I'm allowed to hit on people. This is so cool. How many more women are you going to go and hit on? If you're excited to do it. I mean, think about something that you're really excited to do, like go to Disneyland. You don't have to encourage yourself and give yourself a pep talk to go to Disneyland. I couldn't stop you from going to Disneyland versus something that you feel, shameful or guilty about, or something you don't want to do, like going to work on a Monday if you don't like your job. You have to give yourself a pep talk and you have to like get coffee and drag yourself in there. You don't want to go. You resist it. It takes effort and force for you to make yourself go. And so the higher we can be on this map, in other words, the more positive emotions that we can feel, and there's a million ways to do that. I talk about it in my video course in the chapter, The Map of Consciousness. So this chapter here, I talk about literally how to like rise up and feel those like higher level emotions. I have like fucking like 30 different, so you can pause the video if you want to and like pause this live stream and read any of this shit. I've got like a bunch, I have so many different fucking shit things in here. There's like 20 different pages of how to move up. But when we can move higher up into those higher level emotions, it just makes taking action a million times easier. And so if I am, as you said, what did you call it? You called it like empathy talk, I guess, or like positive talk. It moves you up the map of consciousness. Like I will actively express love towards my coaching clients all the time, like constantly, like all the time. And that might come out in the form of gratitude. Like I will actively, I'll tell all of you, Flozo, I'm grateful for you for this question. All of you listening, I'm grateful for you. Ped, I'm grateful for your great fucking discussion. And the fact that you want to help people, that's fucking beautiful. Irrelevant, I'm grateful for all the answers that you gave today. If I express gratitude and love or happiness or joy or like, man, I'm so happy to be here with you guys, which I am. I'm happy to be here with all of you. All of you have been here for like 3 fucking hours. That's insane. Like, I fucking love you for being here. If I express that, that makes you far more motivated to go and kick ass with your goals because now you feel like you're okay. You're like, holy shit, I'm okay. Like he's telling me I'm doing a good job. There's nothing I need to fix. I'm just slowly improving. I'm okay. Holy shit, I'm not broken. I'm not fucked. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just improving myself a little bit. And so that positive talk literally gets like 1,000 times more results. And I've tested that myself a lot over the last like 4 years. Like that's why I now do that exclusively. I don't have any time for negativity talk. And if someone is negative, that's fine. Like I'll gently push them out of that and try and encourage them as best I can to be more positive to themselves and to other people. But no, I never use negativity talk. I don't think I ever will ever again for the rest of my life. No, there just isn't room for it. No, not that there isn't room for it. There isn't a need for it. I don't need to do it. And I don't like who I am when I do it. And again, every now and then, because I'm human, I will slip up. And I will guilt trip someone. Or I'll be like, come on, man, like you're better than this. Stop being a pussy. I don't do that in my coaching program, but I might do that with myself sometimes. Or occasionally I will do that with Imogen. And I don't like who I am. I don't like how it feels when I do that because I'm like, this isn't who I want to be. I want to be that like all encompassing, all open, all welcoming kind of like safe space where people can come and be like, yo, I feel ashamed of this thing, or I feel guilty about this, or I don't feel like I'm good enough. I feel depressed, and I can just be there and fucking welcome that and be like, hey, that's cool. I'm here for that. But if I use like negative language, or if I'm like pushing someone like in a negative way, I'm saying like, come on, you fucking pussy. That person is less likely to open up to me, less likely to actually seek out the help from me that they might need, less likely to take action because now they feel worse. So yeah, it's just not fucking necessary. And I think it just doesn't help. I think it gets in the way. So again, if you want more of this, you can look up operant conditioning. I am the one. You say so many pretty girls at my gym. But then a Joey Swole video plays in my head. I have no idea who that is, but go say hello to the pretty girls if you want to. And if you don't want to, that's great too. But go say fucking hi. Be like, yo, you fucking pretty. What's up? What's up, you pretty little pumpkin? And Flozo, you say next time a girl says she's into vibrations, I'm going to send her the map of consciousness. No, bro, she's telling you she's into vibrations because she wants you to use the magic wand, the vibrator. You're just not picking up what she's putting down. Bro, that's her pickup line, bro. She's like, I like vibrations. And you're like, whoa, did you know I have like a $200 magic wand vibrator that'll send you into the fucking cosmosphere, into the atmosphere? And she's like, whoa, Flozo, holy shit, can I see this? And you're like, no, girl, I don't put out that easy. You want to get with this? You got to fucking buy me dinner. And she's like, whoa, okay, I'll buy you dinner. And then you bring the magic wand, you plug it into the wall at the dining table at the restaurant, and you guys have a good fucking time. All right, I'm tired, ladies and gentlemen. This was fun. I hope some of this was useful. And if it wasn't, I had a hell of a lot of fucking fun hanging out with you all. This was a blast. If you want, I can do more of these. A lot of you fucking came. I can't believe we stuck at this for like 3 freaking hours. 3.5 hours. Jesus Christ. It's time for bed. Holy fuck. Irrelevant. I appreciate you with all the answers you gave. Everybody else, I appreciate you so much. Flozo, appreciate you as always. Ped, great fucking questions. Who else asked great questions? A Lunning Kingwist. Really appreciate you fucking opening up about your hopelessness and the feelings that you're feeling. Really fucking beautiful. So fucking brave of you to do that. So amazing. Flozo, you say, lol, now you're going to make me take a shower and have my existential thoughts come out. I love showers for that. Hey, I swear to God. Okay, so I tell you one thing I fucking do. I know I just said I was going to go, but like, fuck you. I'm Andy, and I always say I'm going to go, and then I talk for a little bit longer. Yeah. I have my phone all the time in the shower because I almost always get ideas for podcasts and shit in the shower. And so my phone's like relatively waterproof, sort of, as long as I don't get tons of water on it. I will just write fucking articles in the shower. Yesterday, Imogen was like, what are you up to? You know, because she wanted to hang out. And I was like, I've been in the shower for 45 minutes. And she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm writing an article. Like, I even talked about it in this article. So it's called Musings of a Non-Completionist 2, The Hustle. pretty sure if I search for the word shower. Yeah, see? I talk about how I write in the shower. Yeah, I read this article like 3 or 4 years ago too. Yeah. Yeah, see? Showers. So back in 2019, I was talking about how like, 10-minute showers turn into 50-minute epic writing sessions, tapping away on an incredibly inefficient and incredibly wet phone screen until finally I say, fuck this, and I jump out, racing to the computer without drying myself, yelling at the damn computer to hurry up and boot up so I can continue my flurry of creative expression before I lose that frustratingly fleeting creative flood. Yeah. So I understand what you mean about shower thoughts, brother. Like, I'm right there with you, dude. My deepest fucking existential thoughts come out in the shower. So I appreciate all of you. This was a blast. If you want me to do this again, yeah, happily we can do this. I can get Cam on if you ever want Cam to come on one of these. I can get Imogen to come on if any of you ever care about that. I could get one of my past coaching clients if you ever want to hear from any of them. Like Ed would come on one of these. Taylor would come on one of these, like my coaches in the coaching program. Pretty much any of the coaching clients that I've ever had on the channel would probably come on. Like, I'm in contact with all of them still. They're all in the members only accountability group that we have as part of the coaching. So if any of you ever want any of them to come on, but as always, ladies and gentlemen, this was a blast. You're all awesome. Go out there and crush those beautiful, amazing